Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
The Steelers are crazy if they don't start Justin Fields. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Yes, we're reacting to preseason games because that's what we got, Pearl. But you've said it all along, and I'll give you full credit. This is not a dynamic offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So it's one of the teams that's a true quarterback competition going on. Really honest-to-goodness quarterback competition, I believe. And if you're not going to be a vertical offense and you're not going to be dynamic with Russell Wilson, you might as well start Justin Fields. At least he's got the running. He's got, the ability to extend plays with his legs. And the pass protection was so awful in this Steelers' second preseason game. You need a quarterback who can escape. So give me Justin Fields and let Russ sit behind him.
Yeah, I didn't think Justin Fields looked great this weekend. I would definitely go Russ. Now, I said, okay, I watched this on delay, and everyone said Russell Wilson looked terrible because he took these bad sacks.
Yeah.
But they weren't the worst sacks I've ever seen. The right tackle just couldn't stop anybody,
No,
Maggie.
nobody.
You could have swung by him and got Russell Wilson.
That's true.
And the thing about the vertical, he's clearly the better thrower. He just missed George Pickens. He had a 40-yard pass that Pickens' toenail was out of bounds. He's going to hit that pass eventually. He's the right guy to throw to Pickens, not Justin Fields. So it's almost like you're saying there's no talent here. You might as well have Justin Fields run around and make plays. That's not an offense.
I would trust that at least you'd have to account more for Justin Fields in this offense. Russ was a sitting duck back there. And listen, there was a time, and I don't know if we're ever going to see that time again, but there was a time when Russell Wilson was an escape artist, when he was the guy who could extend plays and run around and really kind of save the offense, if we're being honest, in Seattle. And that guy's not here anymore. So that's not a knock on him. He's just a bit older. So to have him back there with an offensive line that just is not awesome, to me, it does nothing for you. He was under duress all night, all day, whatever it was, and made the Bills' defensive line, I think, look a lot better than they actually are.
Oh, the line, mate. Was that Russ's fault, though? But you have to, basically, you're kind of giving up on this whole project if you just put Justin Fields and say, all right, Justin, here's the ball. We're not going to protect you. We're not going to run at all. Our running game is going to average about 3 yards a carry. Go do something. That's not going to work.
See, I think you could layer more on top of that than what you have with Russ. So let's hear from Mike Tomlin, can we, Nick? Says the preseason performance, well, it was JV.
Still not what we're looking for. It was better in some areas, but still JV and too many others.
He said the offense is failing on the possession downs.
Still not winning enough possession downs on offense, particularly early, in an effort to establish rhythm and gain plays and develop personality and so forth. When you're not winning possession downs at the early portions of the game, all of those things really get stymied.
Okay.
What?
Can I hear?
What does that mean?
It's Mike Tomlin. Good
luck.
Can I also now hear cut 21, please, Nick? Mike Tomlin's asked if you would like to see the first team offense start putting up points, and I've got a stat for you on the other side.
Absolutely. In order to do that, you got to win possession downs, and we're just not winning enough of those right now. And so, that problem lingers.
The first team offense for the Pittsburgh Steelers over these first two preseason games, Pearl, 8 series, 0 points, 7 first downs. Again, it's preseason. I understand that. Nobody can feel good about this, though. It's not like you can totally ignore this either. And again, for me, if the offense is going to look like it did with Russell Wilson, I would rather go with Fields. I would rather go with the fresher legs. And I would have to believe that Fields can also make a play or two to George Pickens every now and then, because it's not like they're going to feature him in this offense. I thought they should have went harder after Brandon Aiyuk, at least have another downfield threat. Your tight end is like your biggest downfield threat outside of George Pickens, and that's not what you want.
Let me ask you a question. So it sounds like, and correct me if I'm wrong, your big fear is that Russell Wilson will take too many sacks.
I think that he can't escape if the line is bad, and just the offense, besides that one throw to Pickens, it was like horizontal.
Right. But my point is, if you want to see a quarterback get sacked, start with Justin Fields. I mean, he was holding on the ball forever. So I think it's going to be basically Chicago Bears 2023 2.0. he got sacked all the time, too. He was running on. He doesn't exactly – he's not going vertical any more than than Russell Wilson. I think Russell Wilson, as killed as he was, I thought looked like a little bit more of a professional quarterback yesterday than Justin Fields. And I'm telling you, if you got to incorporate George Pickens, that guy is a stud. You have a number one receiver.
Oh, I know.
And I just don't think I could be wrong. Maybe Fields will figure it out. With Arthur Smith as the offensive coordinator, I don't think you have a chance with Justin Fields. I don't like the way, listen, the mistake might have been hiring Arthur Smith. I'll be honest. Like, did you see anything in Atlanta when he was the head coach that made you think, oh my God, he's the guy? But there was one play that said everything to me about the Steelers. It was 3rd and long, and Russell Wilson checks down for about 5 yards. Mike Tomlin hugged him afterwards, and so they were in field goal position. He's like, yes, way to keep it in field goal position, Russ. I mean, Mike Tomlin is part of the problem too. That dude has gotten really conservative in his old age. He just wants to go out there and slug out a 17-13 win. To me, and if you're going to do that,
you're lucky if you get to 17 points. This offense is anemic.
Yeah, it feels like Russell fits that too. Like, I think he wants a guy. If you gave somehow, I mean, we're not totally giving up on this offensive line. If you gave Russell Wilson any time, he could throw there. I mean, he actually looks, except for being slow when he scrambles, he looks pretty healthy for Russ. I thought his arm looked good.
But who are they throwing to?
Well, Pickens.
Okay, great. You got one.
Muth.
Yeah.
They're saying Muth. And Van Jefferson looked okay. Listen, that team has always found some receivers. I don't even care about, have you noticed that Najee Harris, who we love as an interview, every time he carries it feels like they're in 2nd and 8 or a 3rd and 9. It doesn't feel like this offense. I know he's talking about possession downs. What about the early downs? Like, they don't scare you. Let's air it out on 1st down and just throw everything you've done in the last 3 years, Mike Tomlin, out the window. I think the problems are systematic, not the quarterback. But I disagree with you. I think Russell Wilson gives them a better chance to run some kind of modern offense.
855-212-4227. We know Steeler fans all over the country can't be feeling awesome about this. And, this is right now at least. And I'll save some space here because I actually had some high hopes for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they could be a contender for the playoffs for sure. That's the Mike Tomlin way. It never bottoms out there, which in some ways is kind of a bummer because you never get a high enough draft pick to really go after a quarterback you might like. But this is beyond, except for the Raiders, the Steelers are, you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one. Because you're right. I don't know if either guy really fits what they want to do. The Raiders are the ultimate definition of that, and we'll get to them in a little bit because they have a quarterback competition that was allegedly settled yesterday. But I don't like either of my options here.
Well, you could put Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and 5 other guys. They were not doing anything with that offense yesterday. I'm telling you, your problems are not the quarterback necessarily. I mean, it reminds me, like, the ghost of Matt Canada seems to be lurking around that building right now. When you read those 1st down numbers, hey, wait a second, maybe the whole system is kind of, they want to be conservative. You could even see it in the preseason, which doesn't necessarily mean much because they could be going vanilla.
Yeah.
But you just get the sense that they are going to be slow.
855-212-4227. So that's what's going on with the Steelers. The quarterback competition, allegedly, it's still open. And I actually do believe it. We came into the offseason, it was like, oh, it's Russ. He's got the pole position, and they kept saying it. But Mike Tomlin's, tune has changed a lot because of the calf injury to Russ. It opened up the door for Fields. He did some good things in practice, so we think. But Tomlin then said, whatever happens in the games is going to count more. I don't know how you come out of that game and think, wow, we've got our guy. Like, who? And there's still another preseason game. We'll see how many starters are going to play with that. But I just imagine if you're a Steeler fan, you're just bummed. You had to sit through the Matt Canada thing last year. It got way out of hand to the point where ownership got involved because Mike Tomlin wouldn't throw Canada under the bus, if you will, and admit a mistake that he was not the right offense coordinator. Your starter didn't even, your draft pick, your 1st-round draft pick, didn't even want to stick around to compete for this job. Fled to Philadelphia to be a backup behind a $200 million quarterback, so there's not a chance you're going to see the field unless Jalen Hurts gets injured. Didn't even want to stick around to compete. You got problems here when it comes to the quarterback.
Wow,
you got problems.
Now that's just a mistake.
What?
That the problem is not the Steelers. The problem is apparently Kenny Pickett is in big trouble in Philly already.
Oh, is that right?
Even to get the second job, like he's just not good.
Well,
that was just
a
miss.
miscalculation by the Steelers.
The Steelers have a problem. They just can't get bad enough to get a top 5 pick for a quarterback. Big Ben was 11, I believe. Like they need to get back down and get a big stud quarterback. Like unfortunately, Mike Tomlin is just like his fighting spirit is killing their chances of getting a real quarterback.
His amazing record of never being below 500. Mike, you're killing your team. No, I'm just kidding. But it's tough. You're in this limbo, and that's the worst place you want to be. The defense is good enough to do things. We all know that. The defense is good enough to make your team legitimate playoff and contender. Your offense has got a long way to go.
Yeah.
855-212-4227. Let's go to Ronnie. Might as well hit the phones, right? Birmingham, Alabama. Ronnie, good morning. How are you, sir?
Hey, how you doing? I'm a 49er fan, but I want to chime in on what I saw with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I want to ask you this real quick, Maggie.
Yeah.
Do they get better with Justin Fields on the field? I mean, do they become a better team? I don't think they do.
Right. The only thing I would say to that, Ronnie, is I think there's more there with Fields, right? You've got to develop Fields. He could throw the ball at Ohio State. It's not like he didn't do it in college. Now he's relying on his legs because maybe he's a little bit spooked, gun-shy, whatever, about, taking risks. He's taking too many sacks. But I believe there's way more still to mine from Fields, where Russ, we know what Russ is. And we saw it. We're seeing it now. He's older, and some of the things that made him super special in Seattle, those things are gone. Well, how do you know they're gone? Well, because here's the thing, Perloff, he's not going to a situation where it's going to be perfect, where you've got this, for the guys who have these amazing offensive lines and these incredible offensive coordinators and all that, those jobs are pretty much taken. Like, he's hanging on at this point. You're not going to find a perfect spot. I mean, 2020 through 40 touchdowns. He, all of a sudden, we just haven't seen him in it. I agree with what you just said. We haven't seen him in a great spot. So, and that's what happens to quarterbacks at the end. They have to go to lesser spots to get the job. Exactly. So, I just think if everything was in decent condition, then maybe Russell Wilson's still good. I mean, you saw him a couple throws, like he's still got an arm. I mean, I think Russell Wilson's arm has always been a little underrated. Nobody throws that deep lollipop pass better than him. So I actually think downfield passing-wise, if that's the way you want to go, Russ is still the better option. Now, I'm not going to argue with you. If you have no passing offense and you need the quarterback to run, Justin Fields is your guy. But you can't come into the season with a defeatist attitude like that. And also, Justin Fields, he's going to get in at some point anyway. I would start Russ, then go to Justin instead of, and you actually, I think I'm stealing this from you. Instead of starting Justin, then going to Russ, that doesn't make any sense. Oh, that makes all the sense in the world to me. You think Russell Wilson's going to sit there on the sideline? That's going to be so awkward. He's awkward when he's doing well. Sort of an awkward guy. I think that the ego hit. Sorry, I can't be worried about people's egos. And by the way, if anyone can deliver the news to a veteran that you're getting benched, isn't it Tomlin? The man who most players say they want to, that survey came out. Who would you want to play for the most? Mike Tomlin. I think the respect for him is off the charts, and he's actually the guy who could deliver this to Russ, and it wouldn't seem personal. Russ does not care about Mike Tomlin. Russ is a singular corporation of a person. He doesn't care who's delivering the news. This would be real bad. I mean, look at what happened last year. Sean Payton chewed him out and then benched him when they were actually playing pretty well in Denver. That was about injury guarantees. Yeah, and there was some other shenanigans. I just don't think it matters. I don't think Russ would be like, oh, well, you're Mike Tomlin. This is all okay. I think it's a disaster if he starts on the bench. And besides, you just basically painted a picture. What's the difference who's starting? If it's a coin flip, you might as well start Russ and then go to Justin and bring him in and give him the curveball to the defense. In fact, I would even have some Justin Fields packages so he can get out there and run and then try Russ. Because right now, I totally agree. There's nothing to lose. That offense looks completely anemic. So try Russ, but you also have to incorporate George Pickens. Remember that game last year where they didn't target him at all? Yeah. That can't happen. And the guy to throw to him is definitely Russ. 855-212-4227. Get it started with the Steelers here. You're welcome to weigh in on this. Who do you think should be the starting quarterback? And does this just feel like limbo? I mean, are you excited? You're a Steeler fan? You got this crazy schedule, too, the back end. You're one of those teams that plays the 3 games in 10 days situation. Oof. 9-8. Don't count them out, Maggie. Mike Tomlin. I think I'm going to make the playoffs. They better. So
I'm first of all
trying to
just
help them.
wildly impressed. There's a couple elephants in this room right now.
It's a stampede of elephants in this room.
Yeah. Well, there's two that are.
Where would you like to begin?
Well, the fact that
take a quick break.
There was a structural change in the office. And apparently there was a structural change in your house.
Yes, there was.
I'd like to dive into that. No pun intended.
Yeah, you could be doing the backstroke in my basement right now if you wanted to. You want to get a nice swim in? There's some major storms in the Northeast yesterday, and Club Maggie is now open. We need lifeguards in our basement. That's how much water is in there right now.
I hear you, but I don't actually see you.
I just came up for air with my scuba suit.
No, because I don't see you right now in this studio.
That's the second elephant.
There's been a couple changes.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. If you would like to enjoy our show as an audio product, well, we are a radio show, so we say good morning to our Infinity Sports Network affiliates who we love, Sirius XM Channel 158, the free Odyssey app. You will get the full Maggie and Perloff experience just by listening to us today. If you would like to watch the show, it's going to look a little different. YouTube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, Twitch.tv/Infinity Sports Network. We're camping today.
Kind of looks like Maggie and Perloff after hours.
Yeah. We're like, I get a seance vibe from this. Like we're conjuring the dead at some point.
You know what? I was thinking, should we call the tarot card reader?
Yeah.
Angela, we've got the mood lighting here. This would be perfect for her to come by and tell me again how much the bills are going to suck.
I mean, the studio still looks great. It's just we might need to adjust, turn on the lights.
They are on.
Oh, okay. We might need to turn on more lights.
Got any flashlights? We'll explain a little bit more on the other side.
I'll do the little flashlight on my iPhone towards you, and you do it toward me.
Yeah, we're a vibe today. A different kind of vibe here in the studio. It's like the club. I'm waiting for like chicks holding sparklers or something to come in. It's kind of that lighting.
I think I look better in the dark. This is definitely my kind of lighting. This is how I used to operate as a single person between 1 and 3 a.m. in the dark of a bar in New York City.
There is nothing worse than if you are out at a bar and you're whatever, and then the lights come on.
Yeah, that's the worst when the lights come on. Then that kind of wakes you up a little bit too. You're like, oh crap, time to go home.
No, I'm like, I'm melting right now. This is Wicked Witch of the West stuff. Like, instead of getting wet and melting, the lights come on at the bar and I just am a puddle. 855-212-4227. And there's a puddle in my basement. 855-212-4227. If anyone has any tips how to get water out of the basement, we do have the sump pump is working. It's on. Any tips for how to clean up this kind of mess?
Hope you didn't have anything very nice down there, Maggie.
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Get to that. Family heirlooms, albums, pictures, things that, you can't really replace. 855-212-4227. Okay, we have the Steelers for you. We also have some wise words from the GOAT. We'll get to that. We've got the Raiders quarterback situation to unpack. All of that on the table. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Dancing in the dark because Maggie and I are slightly in the dark. We're not totally in the dark. Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. So there's a lighting change in the studio. We're working through it. I think I am requesting to keep the light like this because I think I am better seen in sort of half light. You, however, look great normally in the real light.
No, I'll take this.
So maybe in between, maybe my side of the studio is dark and your side has
and
light.
I'll be light. I feel like we're camping. So yeah, the lighting we're re-switching around some lights here in the studio. If you're watching the show on YouTube or Twitch, or I'll put it up on Twitter in a minute. But it's like campfire, not campfire, but I feel like we're sitting around. We should be roasting marshmallows.
Yeah, we should definitely light a candle or something. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Gallo just came in and said, "Who are you conjuring today?" It's like the ghost of a Steelers offense.
I would have thought coming in that there'd be blackouts here because the rain was coming down in the area really hard last night. I saw it outside my window. I was like, oh, this is bad. I got to make sure, like, there's a couple leak spots to make sure everything's cool and dry. Then I go on social media and I see it's basically the Nile River in your basement. What happened?
It just the flooding. We knew there was like a flash flood. We have a sump pump, but it was just these surges that were this crazy, crazy rain, and it just overtook the pump. And all of a sudden, my husband's like, "You got to get down here." Took my kid out of the tub, and we're down there. And my kid thought this was the funniest thing ever. He's like, "Hey, there's water in the basement." Like, I know, awesome. And it looked like a shipwreck. That's what it looks like. Our stuff is just floating all on the bottom of the basement.
Is there anything with real sentimental value or something that you're really worried about?
Well, my husband, to his credit, saw my wedding dress.
I was wondering about wedding stuff.
Yeah, so the wedding dress, it's all packed up and everything, but he got that out right away, and then we didn't realize until later there was a box of photos, but they were wrapped in a garbage bag, and like they just got a little bit wet, and so they're all drying now all over our couches and stuff.
Oh,
like
man.
our first floor now looks like a museum to my husband's family, with all these old letters and stuff like that that a family member had sent to us. And we just put it downstairs and didn't even think twice about it.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Well, I said something to you this morning that did worry me a little bit. I'm like, have you thought about mold? Have you had anyone come in? And you said no.
No, my dad not thought about that until you just mentioned it. There's no carpet down there. It's an unfinished basement.
All right. Well, I think we need to have people help us with this. Let's put it out there.
I don't
Any
know
advice?
what to do. What's the next step? So the sump pump's working. The water is, presumably receding. I'll have to text my husband in a little bit, but what now? What? Throw everything away, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I think this is pretty universal. To me, anyone who's owned a house as a kid, this used to happen to us in suburban Philly all the time. This is sort of your worst. The basement is nothing but trouble. I don't understand. I want to move to a place like California. I don't think they have basements really
Florida,
because of earthquakes.
Yeah.
Florida, they don't.
No, because everything's built on swamps, basically.
Yeah. I am not a basement guy. I feel like nothing good happens in a basement.
There's just like yoga mats floating around too. Like we work out down there. All your possessions just floating by, like my kids' old toys and stuff that were in boxes, but the storage unit's just floating.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. We probably should have had a little more shelving down there in retrospect. But we didn't have like any artwork or nothing like that. But yeah.
Artwork. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what else is like priceless.
I mean, like China from weddings or something. I don't know.
No.
I mean, the wedding dress sounds like the big
We got
deal.
that out.
Yeah.
But what am I doing with that? There's no way I'm ever wearing this thing again.
But you know what I have down we have a basement storage. All I have down there is it's 70% costumes that I've worn over different Halloweens in this job.
Yeah.
So there's all these like, I don't know,
Wigs.
Patrick Mahomes jerseys and wigs and stuff like that. That I would be really sad about. I have 10 wigs down there. Because every Halloween I've been trying to top myself. There's a lot of weird jerseys that make no sense.
Your Cam Smith wig?
Yeah. Well, are you kidding me? I have that in the bag. You want me to go, hello, Maggie. You want me to go a little Cam Smith?
Please don't. Too bad that one could have gotten lost in the flood. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll get an update from my husband a little bit.
Yeah. Also, we got to get into it. It was a big weekend for both of us at Fanatics Fest. I think that was, we were hobnobbing sort of with some of the biggest names in sports, sort of being the key word.
I think we got within 3 football fields of Tom Brady.
I got a story, a one-on-one sort of with a huge, maybe the biggest rap star of all time.
What?
Yeah. We were in the same camera angle.
Same general area?
Yeah, we were basically, people were like, oh, wow, it's Perloff. Wasn't he McLovin on the Dan Patrick Show? Oh, and that's Jay-Z right over his shoulder. And then everyone rushed away from Perloff.
You're genius. Jay-Z's genius. Same. Especially that Cam Smith impression.
Similar. Thank you, Maggie.
All right, let's get to the update. Pat Boyle is hanging out with us this morning. Welcome to the campfire.
Yeah, this is something.
This is as close to the 40-40 club as we'll ever get, actually, speaking of Jay-Z.
Well, there's absolutely no light on Pat right now.
What does Pat
Not
look
helping
like?
my case with the glasses.
We all have never looked better, by the way.
Honestly, you got to go to our Infinity Sports Radio Network YouTube right now. I'm looking. Pat, you actually look like a ghost that is like on that CBS show Ghost that they keep advertising for. Feels like the apparition of Pat Boyle is about to give us an update.
Weren't you talking about a seance for your condo that you wanted to sell?
Well, yes, actually.
This is the perfect lighting. Just bring them here.
They did that. Our broker brought in somebody to sage the apartment because they thought the vibes were off because a deal fell through.
Okay, so the opposite of a seance.
Yeah, no.
Seance is you're trying to conjure. A sage is you're trying to clean.
She was trying to cleanse. Like the building, there's nothing bad happened in the building. It's just the deal fell through, and then she had to sage the place.
Okay, well we could do a seance. We could do a seance in here and conjure up one of Jody McDonald's lost lungs.
We want to sage the interest rates. If we can do that, then maybe we'd be in better shape by selling our apartment.
Listen, let's not say anything bad about Jody Mack. He's
I
our
love
guy.
Jody Mack.
All right. I just want to be clear about that.
I love Jody Mack. That was a very, very fun.
That was a send-up.
Yes. And what's funny is Jody used to keep the lights like this in the studio. If I
Did he
kind of
really?
remember.
That was another.
Is there anyone in the northeastern United States who did not grow up with Jody Mack at some point?
Love Jody. He's always been super nice. I didn't realize though he's smoking the old stuff, the tar. No.
From when before COVID, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
What about wasn't Steve Summers from WFAN? Wasn't he a smoker as well?
Yeah.
Wasn't he? Steve is one of those guys who, and I love Steve. He is I'm lucky to be able to call him a friend. He's one of those guys that if he quit smoking, I'd be worried about him. You know, that's the opposite. Smoking, we know, is not good for you. But if Steve quit somehow, I feel like the doctors would be like, "This is worse."
You got to go back to smoking.
Yeah, so it's like it's so a part of him, you know.
And isn't he Jerry Seinfeld's favorite radio broadcaster? And I remember Seinfeld used to come on with him. It's a 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock show, or man,
he was one of his last guests too
Yeah.
when he did his final show.
Yeah. I saw him. I met him.
Yeah.
I've never met him, and it's like, wow, you look exactly like Steve Summers. Steve Summers, what you hear is what you get.
He's the schmooze. He looks the part. He is the part, and a prince of a man. Couldn't be more of a gentleman. Yeah.
Okay. Busy weekend of NFL.
We could use some of his cigarettes just for the lighting.
Yeah.
Just the light from the cigarettes we could use in here today.
That would really help the ambiance in here.
Yeah.
Busy weekend of NFL preseason culminated last night where the Denver Broncos just may have solidified QB1.
So he's right, throws the ball that is caught, touchdown Denver. And that is Tim Patrick.
Yeah, Broncos radio. That is Tim Patrick. Not sure who cut these highlights, but that was Bo Nix who delivered it to him. Broncos beat the Packers 27-2. Bo Nix got the start and played shortly into the second quarter, leading 2 scoring drives, including that 2-yard touchdown pass. The rookie from Oregon finished 8 of 9 for 80 yards and the TD. Also ran it 3 times for 12 yards. Here's Denver head coach Sean Peyton after the game. Not ready to name an official QB1 just yet, but he's a fan of Nix.
Well, listen, he's played well. I'm not announcing any starting quarterback tonight, or I'll let you guys know when the time comes. But I thought he played well.
That feels like a done deal. Jarrett Stidham, by the way, went 7 of 11, 65 yards, but threw a pick in backup duty. And
I was tipped.
Yeah.
Jared Stidham looked good. I've watched, I'm a Stidham guy. Bo Nix looks like he's been playing NFL football for about 12 years. I don't know what's going on with that guy. Like, Bo Nix, remember when he was at Auburn, he never really threw the ball? This is the most, I haven't seen a rookie who looked like a veteran like that in a long time. Not that he's so spectacular like Caleb Williams, but man, he looks like he's totally comfortable.
Why wouldn't you start him? You know, it's like you're not expected to do anything this year. Your offensive line is your offensive line. It's not like you're worried that he's going to get killed back there behind like a sieve line. Maybe you are, I don't know, but like that's not changing. And he's the hope.
Right.
Like, this is the only thing people are excited about.
The only reason that Stidham would get the nod, and I don't think he will, is because he knows Sean Payton. He had a year in Sean Payton's offense, so just familiarity with the offense. But it's uncanny how comfortable Nix looks. Maybe it's preseason, no one's rushing him, and when he gets some real blitzes in the regular season. But man, he looks old, and you know why? He is old.
He is old.
Was he 27? Feels like it.
I think he's 24, but 27. That would be really old.
No, I know that was.
But he looks really good. I got to be honest. Like I did not come into the season thinking about the Broncos at all as a team. Felt like this was a rebuilding year, but who knows now?
And just playing devil's advocate, you can make the case that you don't want to ruin his confidence, but. I mean, it feels like it's not the exact same, but a very similar system to Dan Lanning's Oregon offense, which is, West Coast, keep the ball, throw the ball short. I mean, we know Sean Payton wants his next Drew Brees.
Quick release, just like Drew Brees. Like, not, Brees didn't run around. Nix could run. He had some beautiful plays with his legs. Yeah. So, and remember, he came up as a running quarterback. So he's 24, by the way. That's pretty exciting. I can't believe the Broncos have this kind of hope because that's a team nobody's been talking about.
Absolutely not. And can we also talk a little bit about the mental side? And we can talk about this later if we want. But the mental side of, you don't want to ruin a kid, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he probably thought his career was almost over at Auburn. And then has this great renaissance with Oregon. He's like, basically a couple throws shy of the Heisman Trophy. And maybe the guys who have been through a lot, maybe they're not as quick to crumble on the pro level. I have no idea.
Definitely. I mean, we were talking earlier, look at Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson famously got cut for Mike Glennon at NC State. I love Mike Glennon. Have you ever seen a player with a longer neck? But regardless, like all the great quarterbacks have this adversity story. But Bo Nix at Auburn, I think it's an Auburn thing. Like there was just no way you saw a pro quarterback. I think his high was 16 touchdowns in a season. And in college, that's not a lot. It's a great story. I'm a super fan now of Bo Nix. I like this whole rookie class. I think you're getting on board with me, Mag.
I'm starting to.
Davis Mills, by the way, would give Mike Glennon a run for his money.
Ooh,
in the long neck competition.
You're right. I've seen Davis Mills' neck. It goes on forever.
Neck goes for days.
Wow.
Wait, wasn't there? Who was the guy? The old guy, Hanks.
Tom Hanks?
Yeah, Tom Hanks. He played for the 49ers, I want to say. Merton Hanks, didn't he also have an incredibly long neck, that guy?
I was stuck on quarterbacks, yeah.
Yeah, Merton Hanks. It's like the shoulder pads, and back then they were wearing the big shoulder pads. So it's a big shoulder pad, and I think he would wear something else like a collar, and then 100 feet, and then his helmet.
Yeah, you guys should pull up some Mike Glennon photos, kids. By the way, I don't even know, is Glennon still in the NFL?
No.
Okay.
No shot. If he is, there's something wrong.
Okay. I'll take Glennon. You could take Merton Hanks, and you got Davis Mills. Let's have a neck contest.
Mike Glennon's probably an assistant coach somewhere. I would not be surprised if he's like one of those offensive passing game assistant coordinators or whatever the hell they call them.
So dark, I can't read my computer, but Mike Glennon is a lofty 34 years old. And you're right, I don't think he's on a team.
Do you want to do career earnings, Mike Glennon? Does anyone have a shot in the dark
He's
on
probably
that?
made about 20 mil, at least. Maybe more.
Maybe he's made more. Let's see.
Oh, my God, this is great.
Wait, you're looking it up?
I'm looking at what happened to him. This is amazing.
I got $31.9 million.
Not bad.
Well, not good enough to stop him from becoming a real estate broker after he retired from the Dolphins in May of 2023.
This is the best time to get into real estate. The markets are booming out there, especially in Florida.
Yeah, but you just made $32 million as a quarterback. You have to go out there and show a 2-bedroom and kiss me.
But it's a 1.5 bath. Perloff, you love those real estate shows.
Love them.
You and Bokish are obsessed with these.
Yeah.
Imagine if Mike Glennon got a real estate show and he's there with your boy Sirhan or whatever the dude's name is.
Oh, Ryan Sirhan, who's half your Instagram feed. I would watch Mike Glennon sell real estate all day long.
By the way, I Google search Mike Glennon career earnings, and one of the first images that comes up is like a Reddit meme of him, and in place of his neck is all the teams he's played on and the career earnings. It's absolutely phenomenal.
Listen, $32 million, not bad work.
Yeah.
Mike Glennon was not terrible. Let's not pretend that guy could
wasn't a
sling
starter.
it.
I remember one of his last stops, he was the Giants backup, I think, for Daniel Jones' second or third year. But
these are the guys who got it all figured out. Like, it's $30 million, it's not $200 million, but you got no head injuries. You sat back there, and you've
accumulated basically generational wealth.
And now he's got his old real estate thing going on.
Played 4 years of college football and 50 NFL games. I don't know about that. No head injury.
Well, maybe not. But I know it's probably not what you set out for yourself. But listen, not bad.
Last night in Santa Clara, 49ers beat the Saints 16-10. Brock Purdy was one of the only San Francisco starters that played. He went 2 of 6 for 11 yards. Derek Carr started for the Saints, completed 7 of 9 passes for 47 yards. How about this? Saints head coach Dennis Allen after the game on setting the standard.
And like I told the guys in the locker room, it's never okay. It's never acceptable, regardless of what the, whether it's a preseason game or not. So we have a lot of things we have to improve on.
Not acceptable to lose preseason games. Maybe somebody should point him in the direction of his 24-46 head coaching.
What about regular season games? How does he feel about losing those?
Purdy panic is all-time high after that kind of garbage game he had.
I'm not worried. Slightest.
Maggie, Maggie's been all offseason. She's been nervous about the health situation, everything going on with the Niners.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't know what Brock Purdy's doing out there in preseason.
Well, didn't they put him out there with no...
I think the first team, Trent Williams is not there, so he was actually under pressure immediately.
I was a little surprised that they didn't have a lot of Trent Williams, that's a whole other thing. It's a contract thing, but I don't think they had all their the other starters on the offensive line. I'm like, why would you put Purdy back there in front of, not your number one? You guys just came off an elbow injury last year, healed remarkably well, stayed healthy pretty much through the season. Why would you make this calculation.
Well, I mean, if we learned anything from that game, I think Trent Williams is. We keep talking about Brandon Aiyuk. Forget Brandon Aiyuk.
Yeah, get Williams back in the kit.
Yeah, I know Trent Williams is old, but I mean, your left tackle is everything. And Purdy was running around a little bit. Did not look great.
Is there time for Umpire wearing a Seinfeld shirt?
Can you got till the next hour?
Yeah, you guys are the captains.
Yeah. And this ship is getting steered right into the darkness because we got no lights in here today. 855-212-4227. Pat, thank you.
I can't read the rundown. What's next, Meg?
Coming up, Tom Brady made a declaration over the weekend, and you know what? He might end up being dead wrong. This could be a bad look for the GOAT. We'll talk about it next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. 15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again.
Very funny, Nick, because we have no lights here in our studio, although not a great way to start off your Monday morning. You're out there driving to work or something. Don't worry, everything's going to be okay. We're just in the darkness. Looks like we're sitting around a campfire here in the studio. Welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. Okay, so Fanatics Fest was this weekend in New York City, and before we get to our impressions of what happened, Tom Brady was there, and he was all over this thing. And at one point, he's in a theater. How many people do you think were in that theater?
Oh, like 1,500 maybe?
Yeah, more. 1,000 people, 1,500 people is just massive. And Brady was doing a talk on stage with Stephen A. Smith. And they started talking about the state of quarterbacks today. And Brady had a lot of criticisms. First and foremost, he said the game has been dumbed down. Cut 7, please.
Then I went to New England, and I was developed by Coach Belichick and the offensive staff there. I didn't start my first year. I think it's just a tragedy that we're forcing these rookies to play early. But the reality is the only reason why they are is because we dumbed the game down, which has allowed them to play.
Okay, so Tom Brady's saying it's a tragedy that we start these rookies right away. They're not getting developed, and it's making the game dumber. And dumbing it down, and that the coaches went on to say they don't have enough time to develop because there's not as much practice time as there used to be. And, these are all things, by the way, that the Players Association fought for, right? So Brady, I think, in some ways kind of betraying his own union there, which didn't want to be practicing and doing 2-a-days and 3-days and wanted to take some of the wear and tear off of the players. So that came from the players' side. And he doesn't love it, obviously, but that didn't come from the coaches or anything. And I think Perloff, Brady obviously knows more football than we ever will, but he might end up looking kind of bad on this one for this particular season because I'm watching Caleb Williams and I'm not seeing somebody who looks dumbed down. I'm not seeing somebody who looks like the moment's too big, and he'll go through his ups and downs, but I watched C.J. Stroud run the offense last year, and I'm watching Caleb Williams look really great this year.
Yeah, I mean, listen. C.J. Stroud will be everyone's going to be like, well, what about C.J. Stroud in 23? Why does he look like C.J. Stroud in 23? I'm all about this rookie quarterback class. I don't know that Caleb Williams is going to be able to run a complex offense in Chicago immediately. I honestly think that Jayden Daniels and both the older quarterbacks are going to have a better chance to really run a full offense. I wonder, I wonder if there is reality to that. It makes sense. If you have a rookie quarterback coming in, do you really think you can run a full offense with them? What Brady's saying is probably true. Even C.J. Stroud, if you think back to the Texans last year, I think he's going to take a next step as far as like the trickiness of the offense. Bobby Sloak was their offensive coordinator. Was their offense like it kind of was a bit like run on first down, run on second down. C.J. Stroud, make a great throw. It wasn't like the most complicated offense I ever saw.
But that's fine. It was effective. And then the other part is, you don't stop learning and developing. Why can't you do that while you're playing? It's not the way he did it. And I think Brady he knows his perspective. And everything, that he went through helped him become the greatest football player. But not everyone's going to have that journey. And just because you get tabbed a generational talent coming out of college doesn't mean you're going to fall on your face. It doesn't mean you're going to fail just because you get thrown into the fire right away, as opposed to Brady, who sat for a year.
Yeah, I mean, Brady won the Super Bowl in his second year. It's not like it took him a long time to hit. And also, he didn't have as many starts in college as some of these other. Well, he did play a long time, but he was sort of going back and forth with Drew Henson. Yeah, I understand. I think I mean, he's Tom Brady. Well, who are we to question him? He's pretty smart. I'm very curious.
I get it.
Now, listen, like, I think I'm going to listen to Brady over you in this one. I kind of want to see, and even Caleb Williams, by the way, like he was 10 for 20 yesterday, right? 2 days ago. It doesn't look like, and he was sort of running around a little bit. It doesn't look like he's running that offense like a fine-tuned machine yet. It looks like he's just being awesome on his own right, a little out of what's called off-platform.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Like, is Caleb Williams ready? I think, let's be fair. I think what Brady's saying also too is lower your expectations a little bit. Like, don't expect all of these guys to look like seasoned veterans.
Oh, definitely. And I get that. And Aaron Rodgers tried to say that about Jordan Love. Don't get too high, don't get too low. Like, it's gonna be a roller coaster. You have to expect it. Brady also, though, had some criticism for the coaches. In a way, he said coaches don't spend the kind of time trying to get their players to learn the game. If I can hear cut 8, please, Nick. This was Brady's criticism of coaching.
We used to spend hours and hours in the offseason and training camp trying to be a little bit better than next year. But I think what happens is it discourages the coaches from going to deep levels because they realize the players don't have the opportunity to go to a deep level, so they're just going to teach them where they're at.
Yeah, that's not the player's fault, right? So he's saying that there's kind of blame to be put all around, right? If the coaches are just going to say, all right, this is the guy's talent, and I'm just going to coach him right here. And maybe it's because coaches feel like, I don't know, if I don't win, I'm going to be gone. And I've just got to, instead of like taking one step forward, 2 steps back in order to, set the fundamentals or set a foundation for this person, I've just got to maximize whatever they have right in front of them so I can keep my job.
Yeah, taking a big picture look at this, everyone says this thing about how there's no good quarterbacks. I don't totally understand that when we had 6 guys get drafted in the first round this year and 6 guys get $50 million contracts. Show me a metric where quarterback play isn't better now than it's ever been, right?
I agree with you. However, it does feel like to get through a season, we end up seeing a lot of mediocre quarterbacks, right?
And injuries, you mean?
Yeah, injuries. You definitely need 2 guys. Like it's silly not to have a good backup quarterback in this stage, although that's always been the case. But we will at some point get the Easton Sticks and the Tyson Badgets and the these guys who are the Tommy DeVitos. It feels like every year we always get a lot of mid quarterback play too. Injury.
Yeah, but I still think you could go 20 deep with Pro Bowl level quarterbacks. I'm not kidding. Like, there's so many good guys. Yeah. I mean, you got the guys at the top, but even then the next level, like, would you be shocked if, I don't know, like, give me a mid-level quarterback, like the Kirk Cousins and Derek Carrs of the world are still going to go out there and throw for 4,000 yards. When we were kids, that never happened. Like, there was never, even in Tom Brady's era, it went like 5 deep with good quarterbacks, and now it goes like 15 deep. I don't really know what Tom Brady's talking about, but this is interesting to me. Will he be old man shaking his fist at the clouds and the Fox booth, or will he be kind of cool, let's go, Tom Brady?
Well, it's interesting. We got a little insight, actually, and maybe we can play the clip, Nick, cut 3. He was asked, like, how critical is he going to be? Because Brady's talking about how he held himself to this incredibly high standard. He would, if he threw an interception, he thought, oh, I suck. I'm the worst quarterback in the world. How's he going to be as a broadcaster? Here's what he said.
I just don't want to be so critical because in some ways I don't necessarily know exactly what the problem was on that play. Let's say Daniel Jones throws an interception. I didn't mean to say it like that. Maybe I was a little bit.
Okay. So I think Brady's going to tell you, maybe he doesn't come outright and slaughter a guy, but that's as big of a shot as you can take that we see publicly. And then, by the way, how prophetic, because Daniel Jones goes out in a preseason game the next day and throws 2 horrible interceptions.
Right. It sort of bodes well for Tom Brady's predictive powers that he ripped Daniel Jones on Friday. And then Saturday, I was at Fanatics Fest on Saturday, and everybody was looking at their phones, and I heard the sentence, did you see what Daniel Jones just did? I mean, it's funny. Brady already, another win for Brady already as a broadcaster.
Yeah, he knew it before it even happened. He could just sense somehow that Daniel Jones was going to throw a bad pick six.
I mean, look at Daniel Jones' career. I mean, it wasn't that hot a take.
Fair. Did I say Danny DeVito or did I say Tommy DeVito?
I think you said, did she say Danny DeVito?
Did I say Danny DeVito?
I mean, I know there's a trend of short quarterbacks, but that's really short.
little too short. Coming up, the Raiders make a big announcement.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Raiders make a big announcement yesterday. QB1 is Gardner Minshew. Welcome to the show, Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. This was, along with the Steelers, this true quarterback competition. Raiders, Denver Broncos are having one right now. This is the true quarterback competition between two options that are not going to inspire a lot of confidence. And that was Gardner Minshew, who is a quirky dude, but a career backup, and Aiden O'Connell, who's a young quarterback who has not been able to get developed in the right way or been able to distinguish himself, and did not win this job, Perloff. And here's the thing about this. Like, Antonio Pierce has taken over the Raider job, and he's trying to change the culture, right? And they're trying to change the vibes and everything in Las Vegas. It doesn't matter if you don't have a quarterback that can even resemble someone who can get in the arena with Mahomes and Herbert. And now baby Bo Nix has got a little something going, even though it's preseason. For me, a Raider fan has to be just pulling their hair out, because you've had multiple opportunities to try to really impact and really address this quarterback situation, and they haven't done it. And moving on from Derek Carr should not come with the same kind of challenges of moving on from like an all-time great quarterback. I know he meant a lot to that organization, but this isn't moving on from Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers. This isn't moving on from Tom Brady. This one, you should have had a plan B in the bag, and you should have been trying to draft and develop somebody a little bit higher than Aiden O'Connell, and they've just like ignored, to me, this quarterback situation, and it's going to burn them.
I mean, to be fair, like, did you say this April 29th when they
I said it last year. I thought last year they should have drafted a quarterback.
Okay, so you wanted them to trade up in this draft for somebody.
Trade up in this draft, I feel like, was almost too late. I wanted to go back to last year's draft for them to try to address this, because even if you love Jimmy Garoppolo and Josh McDaniels, that's still not an excuse to not have someone sitting behind Garoppolo to try to develop that person using a second-round pick or maybe even a first-round pick.
I mean, who are they going to take? They were number 7 last year, and they famously took Tyree Wilson, who is maybe the fastest guy to bust in NFL history, who apparently doesn't look. The Texas Tech defensive end who does not look good at camp. I mean, who are the other quarterbacks that they were skipping on? It was basically Young and Stroud, and that was it. So I'm not sure what you mean. It's that, listen, I'd rather go with a Gardner Minshew than pay a ton of money for a guy who's going to clog up my salary cap for the next 10 years. You might as well. Once you decide not to trade up from 13, where they took Brock Bowers, what were you going to do this offseason? Who were you going to sign? You're saying the mistake was made 2 years ago? Whatever. I mean, first of all, Gardner Minshew, I resent you calling him a career backup. That guy started a ton of games.
Not on purpose.
Yeah, he won the job in Jacksonville.
Okay.
He almost got in playoffs last year.
That was keeping the seat warm before they got their actual franchise
They
quarterback.
didn't know it at the time. I mean, listen, he's a high-end backup at least, and he's definitely better than Aiden O'Connell was last year. I never thought this. I never understood why this was a quarterback battle, unless like O'Connell has a 4th-round pick out of Purdue, has something that we don't know about. Obviously, Minshew can accidentally win you some games. I mean, he almost brought the Colts for no reason to the playoffs last year.
I get it, but here's the thing. You're always such a fan of the process, right?
Yeah,
if you're not, don't be in the middle, just really bottom out. This should be the Raiders. And again, let's circle back to something that we talked about quite a bit in the beginning of this offseason after that show Receiver came out on Netflix. What is Davante Adams doing on this team? What's Max Crosby doing on this team? Like, I get it. You want to
Vegas, baby.
Cool. You have the rest of your life to live in Las Vegas. Vegas is not going anywhere. You can live there in the offseason. You can settle there after your career is over. To me, guys who pick where they want to live while you're and picking a worse football situation over actually, like, Adams, 100%, because you're on a Hall of Fame track. And you could get derailed here because you happen to, you had this pie in the sky idea that you were going to go back and play with your college quarterback, but clearly you got no assurances from anyone at the Raiders that Carr was going to be their guy for a long time once Davante Adams got there. So what you signed up for is not what you're getting now. And I don't think anyone would blame Davante Adams if he wanted to go somewhere else. No one's going to start calling him Kevin Durant. He's not going to be the bus rider. He seems very worried about this. I'd be like, dude, I'm worried more about, are you actually going to be an impact player, and are you going to be on a team that matters? Because he's too talented to be obscure.
I mean, it is crazy. I'm looking at you have to understand what Tom Telesco took over, right? Yep. What he's dealing with. Here are their last 4 first-round picks. Cleveland Farrell at number 4 did not work out. 2020, Henry Ruggs at number 12
sitting in jail. So, yeah.
2021, Alex Leatherwood at 17. The entire world, when they made that pick, screamed, do not take that guy. It's a bust. Then they got last year, Tyree Wilson. That was probably already a mistake. He didn't do anything last year.
He was hurt.
And then, I think he was a project to start with. And then Brock Bowers at 13. I think you should be ripping them more for not trading up for Penix. I always thought nobody really knew what was going to happen to Michael Penix in the draft process, but he sure looked like a Raider. He had all these Raider components. Raiders, when you think of Al Davis, you think of downfield passing, long bombs. Who throws a prettier bomb than Michael Penix? They didn't seem to have any interest in that, which is bizarre. I think that was the critical mistake. But are you surprised in any way? This is organizational dysfunction that's been there for 20 years, and it's probably going to be there for another 20 years. I'm not sure what you expect out of this team.
Well, here's the reason why I'm bummed for the Raiders, and we're talking about Gardner Minshew wins the QB1 job, but that's just like old cliche. You got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1. I mean, that's the embodiment of this team.
It's going to be Minshew all along, but yeah.
Okay, but here's the reason why I think this matters. The Raiders are without a doubt one of those teams where the NFL is better when they're good. There's a couple teams like that, whether you're a fan of them, whether you're not a fan of them. The NFL is more fun and more interesting when the Raiders are good. I think they're one of those teams, and this now takes another team with a great fan base who is a value add when they are actually good to the NFL, and it basically, I feel like, takes them off the board.
Well, I mean, you're right, because the NFL has really been struggling since the Raiders have gone down. It's amazing. They've been wandering in the ratings desert since the last Super Bowl in 2001.
$100 billion.
And you say a great fan base. I mean, come on. The fan base has been jerked all over the country because of Al Davis. So it's a national fan base. People love the gear. But which fan base seems loyal? What city are you talking about?
I think Raider fans have been as loyal as you can be to a team that's moved and moved and moved and moved. And you're right. It's like whiplash.
Yeah, I just think that the NFL's fine. They don't need the Raiders to be great. I hear what you're saying. But at least they have that beautiful stadium out there. I don't know. I'm not sure what you expect
for the opposing fans to come in and take over.
It's the owner. We know that there's something going on there. Like, this is not a well-run organization. It just isn't. I mean, there's no. It didn't. Don't put the blame on Gardner Minshew and his mustache and his jorts. I mean, it's not his fault.
I'm over the Fu Manchu mustache. I'm over the jorts. I'm over the stretching in the locker room wearing only a jockstrap or whatever these stories are about Gardner Minshew. The Winnebago. I'm over it.
Oh, okay. When he throws a game-winning touchdown in Week 3 against the Chargers because Antonio Pierce has a defense all fired up. We'll see. I mean, this team has at least they're set up to battle. Antonio Pierce, who I'm in love with this guy because he's in an impossible situation. And he's going to go down fighting. And yes. I mean, the expectation, this is probably a 6 or 7 win team, and it has been for a long time. But it has nothing to do with Gardner Minshew versus Aiden O'Connell. You're right. They need a full rebuild. I got news for you, Maggie. It's not happening. Nothing about this organization made sense for a very long time.
Trade Davante Adams, trade Max Crosby.
And then what?
And use those picks to actually build something with Antonio Pierce. How about this also? You mentioned the stadium. It is beautiful. And you want to take the stadium tour the last time we were in Vegas. We didn't have time for that, but it's gorgeous. Got a little update on some of the prices. If you are in the Wynn Field Club, according to our pal Arash Markazi, you want to go to a football game and spend $30,000 on a bottle of rosé? You can do that. You want to spend $22,000 on a bottle of Brut? That is available to you. What else would you expect from a team in Vegas? But the funniest part is there's a $5,000 table that you can buy, to bring all your friends and sit around and watch the game. You can't see the field. $5,000 table, and your view is totally obstructed by other people. You're not even close to the field, Pearl.
That doesn't sound good.
No. No, it doesn't. I always would love to, every time I go to my favorite football game, I always love going and throwing down $1,000 for my favorite scotch. That'd be the Dewar's 18 years.
For a bottle or a...
I don't think that's a bottle. Maybe
yeah, I don't think it is either.
I think it's maybe I don't know.
This
but
is
anyway,
Vegas.
bring your wallet if you're going to the Raider game.
This is Vegas. Nothing's cheap, so it's still fun.
$30,000 for a bottle of rosé.
That's a little overpriced.
Think so, Nick?
Just slightly, yeah.
855-212-4227. Would love to hear Raider fans. John's on the line. He's a Steeler fan. Got another quarterback competition going on in Western Pennsylvania. Hey, John, how's it going?
Good, guys. I've been listening to you for a couple of weeks, and I hear all about the quarterback controversy. But here's something else to think about. In the last 3 years, the Steelers, in their top 4 picks, so 3 times 4 is 12. In the last 12 picks, they've invested in 5 offensive linemen. They brought in 5 free agents. And then you have the debacle that you have on that field on Saturday night.
Yep.
And when you have a 260-pound defensive end bull rush over your 320-pound first-round draft choice, you have problems. And I don't care who your quarterback is.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's either a problem here with player evaluation or and when I say coaching, I'm not saying so much Tomlin, but I'm saying at the next level,
right.
The offensive line coach. And, the other side of the sword to all this is that because you've invested all this in that one position, the offensive line, and we all know the story about wide receiver. Oh, well, they don't have a secondary, second wide receiver, frontline wide receiver. They're also lacking on the defensive line. If Benton isn't playing in the line, they get gashed terribly. So they've put all this capital in their offensive line. It hasn't paid off, and in the end they've depleted everything else. So I love my Steelers, but I can see a 5-12 season.
Oh man, John, that would be very uncharacteristic for a Mike Tomlin team bottoming out like that, which would be bottoming out for the Steelers a 5-win season. Well,
it's uncharacteristic, of the Steelers to not hit on their offensive linemen. They've had great offensive linemen, a lot of first-round picks there.
They're going to be starting two rookies this year.
Well, hopefully. Troy Fanu's hurt, right?
Yeah.
So... But they generally have done pretty good, and I like the philosophy of building inside out. Like, that makes sense. And remember Broderick Jones? Like, everybody thought that was a steal of the draft. The Steelers traded up and boxed out the Jets. And I thought he was pretty decent last year, and now it looks bad.
He came along later, but he had trouble getting on the field early last season. He was one of those first-round picks that took a minute to get out there, and, yeah, he was awful.
I think he graded well as a run blocker last year. So the philosophy is not bad, and they've never drafted wide receivers. They're famous for that. They basically have all these reclamation projects, and they just find them, and that's why I'm not as worried about. I think what is it about George Pickens looks like a superstar every time I see him. The guy gets one-handed catches. He's tall. He's fast. So I think there's a bigger problem to me is play calling. Like, let's open this up. Let's run like a modern offense, and they don't seem to be interested.
EJ, you wanted to get in on this conversation.
Yeah, I just look at the Steelers situation, and I feel like perhaps we've been giving Mike Tomlin and that front office, Omar Khan, like way too much credit. Like, are the Steelers not maybe the most overrated franchise in football in terms of the last 4 or 5 years? Like, we keep giving them credit for having these winning seasons, but as a caller mentioned, the offensive line problems have been a problem for 4 or 5 years. The lack of offensive pop has been a problem for 4 or 5 years. These are the last rankings for overall yards since 2019. I'm looking at 30th, 24th, 23rd, 25th. I mean, that's 5 years of terrible offensive play. And now we're coming into a new season, new offensive coordinator, 2 new quarterbacks, and we're still saying the offense looks like it's going to be a mess. Like, at what point do we say, hey, like those 9-win seasons where we say, hey, Mike Tomlin, they overachieved, maybe that's just who they are. Maybe they're just a mediocre team who can't develop young talent, who can't find a way to get the quarterback that they need. And I'm wondering if it's a situation where they do need to tear it down. We talking about the Raiders tearing it down. The Steelers look like a team that maybe needs to tear it down because I just don't see any path in that division to them being a real contender.
Yeah, but they won't tear it down. Like, that's not in the DNA. So you're gonna stick around, drafting in the 20s, and if it's gonna be a challenge to find a quarterback. That's why, again, I go back to Fields. What are you doing out here with Russell Wilson? And listen, it's a preseason game. He didn't look horrible. He just didn't look good. You know what it is. Fields, at least he's a dynamic runner. There's more to develop. Russ is coming to the end of his career. Fields is just beginning. It's year 4, and he didn't start his first year. So I don't see wasting your time with Russ. I would try to put everything into Fields, because odds are it's probably going to be neither of these guys, and you're actually going to need a new quarterback. So at least see what you have in Justin Fields.
Right. I'm not quite sure. Like, they have torn down the fact that they have the cheapest quarterback room in the NFL. Like, they're both on 1-year deals, basically. So I think almost any team in the league, they have the most flexibility at quarterback. Like, name a team that can just as easily move on next year. Maybe Gardner Minshew, Aiden O'Connell, that we just talked about. But at least they're in the right spot at quarterback. They didn't invest anything this offseason. They didn't draft anyone. They made a mistake with Pickett. But EJ, you're an ACC guy, Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah.
Did you have any idea Kenny Pickett was going to be this bad? I'm sorry, I didn't see all the people when they picked him in 21 and say this guy's a guaranteed bust. They did. Their process was okay. They kept they drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. That's what you do. You draft a first round quarterback. I'm sorry, if you guys knew Pickett stunk, then you didn't tell me, because I don't remember that.
No, Pickett had some gaudy numbers, but he also was right there in their backyard, and you have to wonder, what was the evaluation? Did they fall in love with the guy because they knew him and they saw him, and maybe he wasn't worth a first-round pick, but they overvalued him because he's in the building. Pittsburgh and the Steelers share facilities, and they picked the hometown dude.
You say that now. Did you say at draft night?
No, but I'm looking now at Kenny Pickett might not even win the backup job in Philly, you're telling me.
I think he threw 42 touchdowns and 7 picks his junior or senior year at Pittsburgh. Like, he was definitely a good player, and he was probably going in the first round regardless. I just don't know. I mean, listen, the key is to hit on quarterback, and they're clearly drafting one next year. So, because they set this up perfectly. Like, you say Omar Khan is overrated. I don't know about that. That dude got Joey Porter Jr. in the second round. I think he's a really smart GM, and I think he has set this up perfectly to get a new quarterback next year.
But to be fair, I mean, Broderick Jones is there getting turnstiled by Gregory Rousseau, I don't know. 855-212-4227. Let us know what you think about the Steelers quarterback situation, about the Raiders quarterback situation. I love this from the chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sportsnet, from our pal Daly, who asked, who is the worst quarterback situation in the league? Vikings, Raiders, Broncos. I think the Broncos now, maybe there's a little bit of hope here that Knicks could come in, and at least that's interesting. Vikings with J.J. McCarthy now hurt, and you're going to Sam Darnold. The Raiders now turning to Minshew, when it was a bake-off between him and Aiden O'Connell. And
would you rather have those situations, or would you rather be stuck with, I don't know, Kyler Murray, Tua? I mean, like, these guys are taking up no cap. At least you have a way out.
Yeah, but those guys are talented.
They are very
Tua and Kyler Murray are talented.
Yeah, but I got to tell you, like, the ability to rebuild, flexibility at quarterback, I would not underestimate how important that is. Like, the fact that, when Bo Nix floats out at number 12 and you're there and you have no one on your payroll, it could work out. I'm just saying, don't give up hope. This is how it works in the NFL. It's a draft to set up teams who struggle. And all these teams we're talking about could be sitting there in the right spot at the right time.
855-212-4227. All right, you can let us know what you think about these quarterback situations. Steeler fans, Raider fans, Viking fans are always welcome. Broncos fans. Got a lot to do. Okay, Cowboy fans, we've got something for you. A little more intel on what might be keeping your star wide receiver away from the team. Obviously, it's a contract issue, but we've got details for you. We'll get that to you next. It's Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. All right, Maggie, you got a new poll question put out there at Maggie and Pearl. What do you got?
I just want to leave it a fill in the blank, and I'll do a hat tip to our pal Daly, who's in our chat, youtube.com/InfinitySportsNet, if you want to watch the show. Who's got the worst quarterback situation in the NFL? I think it's like a fill in the blank. I don't want to limit it to options, just tell us.
Yeah, I mean.
I think it's the Raiders.
But
the Raiders or the Vikings?
What is worse, to be tied in contractually to a player who keeps getting hurt, or to have basically a stopgap until you get your guy? Or what's the word? Or if you get
You mean Daniel Jones? So Daniel Jones.
Well, he's gone after this year, right?
He'll be gone after this year.
So that's good.
But he cost enough money this year that they didn't go for a quarterback. I don't know why the Giants didn't get a quarterback. We'll talk about Daniel Jones' terrible.
Well, I mean, did you watch off-season Hard Knocks? There was all sorts of reasons.
But they were sitting right there at 6. They could have because the Atlanta Falcons took Penix at 8. Taking Penix at 6 wouldn't have seemed like such a reach.
Yeah, but we didn't know that at the time. Nobody knew
Penix was coming.
Penix
But they
was
have
coming
all
top
the
ten.
information.
Yeah, but still, I mean, there was 30 other teams who would not have taken Michael Penix at 6. You're ripping the Giants for not taking Michael Penix right now?
I mean,
yeah, you know that now, but it didn't. That would have been a radical pick at number 6. Besides, I think they did fine.
Well, J.J. McCarthy, that was linked. I mean,
I know. If they had taken J.J. McCarthy, we would have killed them. Everybody would have killed them.
But not if you went out and looked good. We wouldn't have. That's the whole thing. It's like you got to have the conviction. They had conviction to take Daniel Jones at 6. It was a different regime. But they obviously didn't care what the blowback was going to be on that one because it was swift. And then he had Pat Shurmur his rookie year, and it wasn't that bad when he finally got a chance to play. And then it derailed from there. So no one's going to point their fingers and laugh if you end up being right. And again, these guys have way more information than we're working with.
I think that's a lot of Monday morning quarterback out of you. To be honest, again, you don't know. I think flexibility is underrated. By the way, you say who's the worst quarterback situation? I mean, well, the worst passing teams in the NFL last year were these 3 teams. The Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Looking better this year, they say. The New York Jets and the New England Patriots. How do we know the Jets situation is good? They have Aaron Rodgers, and they had the worst passing offense in the league last year.
Because he got hurt 4 snaps into the game.
And he's a 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles. Does that give you confidence? I think you could look. We don't know what the worst situation is going to be because, let's face it, there's a lot of combustible spots here. There are a lot of combustible rooms.
But it's like process over results. Yeah, you might have Aaron Rodgers get hurt 4 plays into the game and in your first game, and then your season goes off the rails. But it wasn't a bad process. It wasn't a bad thought process to take Rodgers and bring him to the Jets. So I can't really kill them for that. It was a good idea, right? It didn't work out, but the idea was right.
Yeah.
Right. So I don't like the process of the Giants going into the season with Daniel Jones. You end up taking a wide receiver, and then what's going to happen? You're going to restart with another guy next year, and you've got Malik Nabers, who's now 1 year closer to wanting $35 million. And what are you doing there?
Well, let me get back to the process. So we started this with the Pittsburgh Steelers. What was wrong with their process? They drafted a quarterback.
And it didn't end up working out.
So that's not a process thing. That was just the wrong pick.
Okay, that's fine. Wrong pick. But then where were you? You're basically trying to make it work with 2 distressed assets here. And I actually wasn't going to put the Steelers as one of mine because, again, if they go with Fields, I actually like the process there. I'm saying if you're the Raiders, I don't like your process. If you are...
Well, what's your process? Say Fields is good. You're looking at another 7 years of 9-8. I mean, what... I don't know that that's really the answer either.
But if Fields is good,
is he going to be great or is he going to be adequate? What you described Justin Fields as a guy who can run around when the offensive line folds, which seems to be happening.
Right.
I don't know. It just feels like the Bears 2.0 to me, where there wasn't a lot to work with, and Fields sort of found a way to win 7 games. It doesn't feel like exactly process-wise you're recreating the 80s Niners on this team. It feels like you're sort of stopgapping.
So do you think the Steelers are in a tank?
No, I know exactly what the Steelers are going to do. We all know they're going to be 9-8, and they're going to continue this forever. I understand.
You're saying they should have tanked. They should be tanking now.
I'm not saying they should have or shouldn't have. I'm saying the reality is Mike Tomlin is going to find a way to, using guts and resolve, get this team to 9-8 with either Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, and then once again they're going to be in the same spot. I'm just telling you how it is. I'm not telling you how it should be or whatever.
Okay.
And do you disagree?
No, I think they made a mistake. They definitely did.
Which one?
Both.
No. Give me the specific move that was a mistake.
Honestly, I think Russ is the bigger mistake.
Why? It cost him $1 million. What do they have to lose here?
Because you already said this, and I disagree, but you can't even bench the guy or else you've got a problem. See, you brought in somebody, and he's not costing you a lot, but he still has to be managed.
Got it.
He has an ego. He's got a reputation. He's got a legacy he's trying to protect.
Yeah.
All those things. This is not you still have to account for him, even though he's quite frankly not good enough right now to warrant that kind of attention.
That is fair. I will give you this is not ideal to have a Russell Wilson on the bench, but I thought he looked better than everyone. He was 8 of 10 for gosh sake, and everyone's like, "This is the worst game I've ever seen." He's
throwing the ball sideways.
Threw a beautiful pass to Van Jefferson. Threw a gorgeous pass to George Pickens down the sideline. That it was just a toenail out. They did a replay. That looked pretty good. If you give Russ 3 seconds back there, I'll tell you, he's going to find whoever he is throwing to. I mean, maybe not a lot of talent. He's going to hit my guy Freiermuth. It's not, if they just protect Russell Wilson, he could be good. He was pretty good last year. I mean, he wasn't terrible. If you got 26 touchdowns and 5 picks, Russell Wilson, you're going to win some games in Pittsburgh.
855-212-4227. Who is the worst quarterback situation in the NFL? In our chat, youtube.com/Infinity Sports Network, we say good morning to the Weedos and the coffee drinkers, and you don't have to address your bong, adjust your bong. Our lighting is just a little off. We are working on it. We're troubleshooting it. It looks like we're sitting around a campfire. Kelly says, what about Tennessee? You got Will Levis starting with Mason Rudolph as QB2.
I mean, let's go.
Mr. Mayonnaise himself.
I mean, all right, who said that in the chat? Kelly, do you know if Will Levis is going to be good? Nobody knows that. No one on earth knows that. Yeah. Would you write him off to be like, I've seen enough, Will Levis is terrible? I don't think anyone can say that.
No,
he was pretty good.
They're not on my list. Not
Will
yet.
Levis, ironically, could have been a top 5 pick, and then it would look bad, but they got him in the second round. That is at least, and he's got more receivers to throw to. I think I could go out with Tennessee and just chuck it up to Nuke Hopkins and Treylon Burks and Tyler Boyd and my guy Calvin Ridley. This is a very interesting spot.
Delta said, we got Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. I can smell the Super Bowl now.
Apparently, Bryce Young shredded that Jets defense last week on the joint practices. Listen, it is mid-August. Let's look for a glimmer of hope, people. I'm sick of all this negativity right now. You were tearing down Gardner Minshew and all he's achieved in that van driving around the country. You were down on Russell Wilson.
What did he achieve in the van?
You were down on Hall of Famer Russell Wilson. He achieved coolness is what he achieved. You were down on, is there a plan? Not really, but hey, this is football. You never know what's going to happen, Maggie.
Daly says the Patriots quarterback situation is probably hot garbage. But
oh my God.
They're okay. That's not about this year, though. That's about Drake May, hopefully year 2, goes out there and looks great.
I would pay a ticket to see Drake May and Joe Milton in the preseason. I mean, that is nothing but hope there.
Pat Boyle is here. Again, you can go on X at Maggie and Pearl, and you can vote. We'll retweet it as well. Who's got the worst quarterback situation in the league? Feels only fitting to have this discussion on a day when Gardner Minshew gets named QB1. We're not sure what's going on with the Steelers. Vikings got to roll with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, just really quickly, too. Yeah. I think New England's probably got one of the most promising quarterback rooms.
There's hope there.
You got 2 chances, right? If Drake May's a bust, maybe Joe Milton's not. If Drake May's great, then maybe Joe Milton is good if Drake May ever gets hurt.
Well, I was thinking about the other way.
To land one quarterback.
I thought what you meant by that was if Drake May's a bust, you're probably getting the number 1 overall pick again this year. So just re-rack it.
Then you can go 3 quarterbacks all within their first 2 years.
Also, I think you have questions about your coaching staff there, too. I mean, Jerome Mayo is taking over a dumpster fire right now. Will they give him time? If not, he needs an offensive guru. Give a Sean McVay type
Alex Van Pelt is the one that's
he's
trusted.
Okay. He's been around forever, but Drake May needs the right coaching staff and the right receivers. We're discounting the system here, guys.
I'm telling you, Belichick assistants. Tough for them.
Well, Alex Van Pelt was, I don't think ever with.
No, but Gerard Mayo is.
Right, but my point is they need like a Kevin O'Connell. They need a McVay Shanahan guy to help these guys. If Drake May never gets a good coach, then we'll never know how good he is.
You know, that we played that Tom Brady sound for you earlier about him saying basically all these offenses have been super dumbed down because they're asking quarterbacks to start right away and they're not developing them. I'd love to put Brady and Kyle Shanahan in a room and be like, Shanahan, who everyone loves and who everyone's trying to mimic his offensive system.
Sure.
And same with McVay. Like, let them respond to Brady on this because it's basically a copycat league of offenses trying to copy what Kyle Shanahan is doing. So I'm curious if
he just threw Brock Purdy in there, no problem. He was willing to throw Trey Lance in there, no problem.
Yeah. Anyway, Pat, you got headlines for us. What's
Yes. So you guys started this hour with the news that came yesterday from Vegas. Gardner Minshew is QB1. Aiden O'Connell is the backup. Here's head coach Antonio Pierce yesterday. Why Minshew?
Experience, the operation, the processing, just everything we saw in practice. Some of it showed up in the games. A lot of stuff we can get better at. I don't think anything here is a finished product, but based off of where we want to go in the first quarter of the season, we feel like Gardner gives us the best opportunity.
And the Raiders start the season in L.A. against Jim Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, and the Chargers. A rematch, by the way, of last year's 63-21 beatdown, where the Raiders basically told the Bolts, put your teeth on the curb and bite down.
Oof.
So that should be fun.
Nice imagery there for a Monday, Pat.
Thanks.
Yikes.
Yeah, liven it up.
I thought it was dark in the studio, lighting-wise.
Oh, my God.
Well, that game was 49-0 right? It was Easton Stick and basically a bunch of Chargers backups just getting pummeled.
And did Staley get fired right
Sounds like someone lost a bet.
No, I did not bet on that game.
Someone on the Chargers money line?
If I did bet on the game, at least by the second quarter, all right.
Easier to stomach. Like, I'm not winning this bet.
Yeah. Elsewhere, a shootout in Pittsburgh. Bills beat the Steelers 9-3.
Yeah.
The QB battle in Pittsburgh has really intensified. You guys have been talking about this hour as well. Russell Wilson, 8 of 10 for just 47 yards before Justin Fields came in and injected not much, but some life into the Steelers offense. He went 11 of 17 for 92 yards, also ran it 8 times for 42 yards. However, on the other side of the field, a familiar face came back to Pittsburgh. That was Mitch Trubisky. Maggie, he's Josh Allen's backup, as you know. And if he sees the field this year, cancel the season.
Yep.
Oh, my gosh. What is going on with Mitch Trubisky?
So his time did not go well in Pittsburgh, and after he threw an interception, the Steelers TV crew made sure to remind us.
We've seen a lot of that with Trubisky in Pittsburgh over the years. One of the reasons why he's no longer here.
That's Bob Pompiani dropping the sledgehammer. Woof.
Trubisky's getting worse. I don't know what's happening with that guy. He was okay in Chicago.
It's horrible. I can't imagine how the Bills were like, yeah, let's go into the season with Trubisky as the backup. That's just thinking your season is so screwed. If Josh Allen goes down anyway, you basically wave the white flag.
Not really. I mean,
the rest of the guys on the team still have to play, so you give no confidence.
Trubisky should be a high-end back. I think they pay him a little bit. Like, he should be a high-end backup. Why wouldn't he? He started a bunch of games. He's not like Kurt Sloter or somebody out of nowhere. Why is Trubisky all of a sudden so bad? The guy was a number 2 pick in the entire NFL.
2-year deal worth $5.25 million.
Yeah, that's not
much for a backup. And this is the thing.
I'll take it.
We got, of course, we got a little intel. Just a tiny bit, and I don't think I'm talking out of turn here, but your pal Case Keenum wanted to stay in Buffalo, and now and they just sort of said no thanks. Like, they're cycling through backups. They're not giving Josh Allen like one solid guy outside of Matt Barkley, who's been hanging around for a while. They don't give him like the same dude all the time. This is not a Aaron Rodgers, Doug Peterson type of thing.
By the way,
part of the reason was Josh wanted his best friend Kyle Allen there.
Keep Kyle Allen, and he's gone.
I mean, again, like, Mitch Trubisky should be fine as your backup quarterback, but he's like one of those guys in the movie Space Jam who had the wrong shoes on and lost all his abilities. He cannot throw a pass anymore.
Doesn't want to throw picks, that's why.
By the way, you guys mentioned the O-line struggles for the Steelers. Not going to get much better. Starting center Nate Herbig, the one who botched 2 snaps with Justin Fields last week, reportedly has a torn rotator cuff.
Ooh.
Going to miss significant time.
Oh, that's why the rookie's stepping in.
Yep.
Oh,
Frazier.
Yep. Zach Frazier, their second-round pick.
I almost said Leslie Frazier, but that's your former defensive
That'd be a real big comeback for Leslie Frazier's like 68.
Yeah, I'm not going to come back to coaching. I'm going to play center for Pittsburgh.
But Troy Fontenot, you said, I think he's going to be their starting right tackle. So you're going to have 2
he's not on
rookies?
the field right now, though, is he? I don't think
he's not on PUP, though, I don't think.
That's why I don't think you could start Russ, because he can't move as well as Fields can. If that line is as atrocious as it looks, he's going to get destroyed.
Well, I don't know why Broderick Jones should be able to block somebody in the preseason. What is going on here?
I'm sure.
Maybe they're playing possum here, and
let's make it look like we're as bad as we can.
Let's put hang our quarterback out to dry. Honestly, I don't know if we're going to talk about this game at all, but Nobody took bigger hits this weekend than Jake Browning. We could talk about that.
Yeah.
That dude.
Wow, that's top of mind.
Holy moly, I know.
What?
You guys watch that? Oh.
You want to hear about Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels?
Definitely.
Yeah, so both of those guys also played again on Saturday. Caleb Williams' dazzling 45-yard dime on the run to Roma Dunze, one of a few highlights of his day. Also evaded multiple defenders before scrambling in for a 7-yard touchdown. Just finished 6 of 13 for 75 yards, though. Bears smoked the Bengals 27-3. Jayden Daniels looked good again as well, 10 of 12 for 78 yards. He ran twice for 13 yards. Commanders lost to the Dolphins 13-6. Tua made his preseason debut in this game. 1 series, 5 of 5, 51 yards, and a 13-yard touchdown to River Craycraft.
God, I was watching that. And I was like, oh, man, yeah, warm weather, too, is super fun. I forgot all about that.
Do you want to hear any baseball or this umpire who wore a Seinfeld shirt yesterday? Or do you want to push it back?
We're going to push it. Thank you, though. What's funny about Caleb Williams is the first couple drives, didn't really look that great. It didn't look as awesome as week 1. And they're like, oh, the TV crew almost seems surprised. They're like, oh, he's coming back out for what was the 4th series? Oh, my gosh. Then it was like, ball to Roma Dunze, looking awesome, keeping the play alive. I don't know if the defense, what the situation was in terms of what he was facing, but that last drive made me change my whole outlook on that outing.
I'm dying or thriving on the Caleb Williams is a bust hill. Because I saw Zach Wilson made that same throw at his pro day at BYU.
Yeah.
I saw Justin Fields.
No defense on the field for that.
Exactly. I saw Justin Fields do what Caleb Williams did thousands of times.
Yeah.
I need to see it for a full game.
The ghost of Keenan Allen lining up for the Bears, that doesn't look good already. I guess Keenan Allen put on 30 pounds and is looking incredibly slow in camp is what everyone is saying. That they don't know. And Roma Dunze looks great, but he's a rookie. I actually am siding with Pat. I think that it's going to be a little more up and down for Caleb because, listen, if he has to do 4 backward spins and throw the ball 50 yards downfield, that is not necessarily sustainable. You're going to miss a couple of those.
I don't know. Mahomes keeps doing it, and it keeps working. 855-212-4227. Who else does he get compared to? He looks like Mahomes out there.
All he needs to do is throw the ball behind his back now. Did you guys see that?
But Mahomes is also really good at the simple stuff, too. He's gotten even better. But I don't know if the simple stuff is going to be there for Caleb. That's what the Bears have to do. They have to give him some easy throws, too. As Tom Brady said, dumb it down.
We mentioned we've got a Cowboys update for you. Promise we will get to that on the other side. Pat, thank you so much. It's Maggie and Perloff. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
Uncle Sam's on YouTube. Tune in for some laughs. With a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass, he cheers for the Bogersh and Perloff with a toast to the day. 4th of July is the best, you'll hear him say. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Uncle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. Uncle of the year with a patriotic twist, watching sports and sipping brews, none he's missed. He jokes and he laughs, spills some too, it's alright, 'cause Drunkle Sam's in charge of the fun tonight. Raise your glass, light the sky, it's the 4th once more. Drunkle Sam's got stories that you can't ignore. From Maggie to Perloff, he's got quite the plan to celebrate freedom with a drink in his hand. On the fireworks boom and the stars are out, Drunkle Sam's still laughing, oh there's no doubt. So here's to the uncle who loves his brew. Happy 4th of July from the YouTube crew. So watch with Sam have a laugh or two. He's the life of the party, brought to you by YouTube. With Maggie and Perloff, it's always a jam. Happy independence. Cheers, Trunkle Sam. Uncle of the Year.
Oh, Trunkle Sam's on YouTube, tuning in for some laughs with a beer in his hand and his feet on the grass. He cheers for the Bogush and Perloff with a toe.
In the heart of the game, under the bright lights.
Peter Parker's got a QB with a wild tale to tell. Speaks of pyramids and secrets where the old gods dwell. First it's just giants, ancient and grand. They come the aliens with plans for the land. Oh, Peter Bellotti, hold on tight. Each game unveils a stranger sight. From ancient relics beneath the turf to cosmic plots that question Earth. Aaron Rodgers whispers of a league on the moon, hiding craters under a starlit monsoon. Claims a playbook.
Holy ain't this straight. Olympics coming fast, but the water's not deep. Gotta clean it up, make the competition sweet. Smooths in the 30 seconds, laying it down. Your parents were a river, supposed to wear the crown, but there's trouble in the water. It's going around while Peter Bellotti's on the sideline, not making a sound. Peter Bellotti ain't fazed by the fuss while the city's in a hurry. He's missing the bus. Olympic fever high, and everyone's a rush.
Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Kind of feels like a nightclub in here. Got the low lighting today if you're watching the show on YouTube, Twitch, or X. I kind of like this vibe, actually. It's growing on me.
I'm not sure it looks ideal.
I think we've never looked better.
Okay. All right. I could take the positive spin.
This is good. These are good shadows for us.
I look better, but usually you look great.
Well, I get
you
some
still
help.
look fine, but no, I don't know if this is sustainable. I think tomorrow, if it's still like this, you should bring in a ring light for you and keep me in the dark. Now, that'll look weird, but it'll be unique.
It's like the Maggie and Perloff man cave.
Wasn't there a
cave.
Seinfeld episode where you saw a woman's face in the light in the dark and it was completely different?
One of my favorite episodes, Yamahama Fright Night. That's what they kept saying when she would be in the bad lighting. It's like, this is my girlfriend Gwen, like Yamahama Fright Night. And she looked great in some lighting, and they call her Two-Face. She looked great in some lighting and terrible in other lighting. Man,
all right.
Lighting's the key to life. 855-212-4227. Mike's in Las Vegas. We're asking what's the worst quarterback situation in the NFL. Mike, I got to be honest. The Raiders making my list. How are you this morning?
Hey, just relax, Maggie. Relax about the Raiders. Perloff, you look beautiful in any kind of light. I just want to let you know.
All right, Mike. Now I know you're drunk.
Lie to him.
Actually, I'm working. No, just relax about our quarterbacks. Worry about your team because we're doing amazing. I'm so happy that we have two amazing quarterbacks that we're not paying $60 million, and then our backup is terrible. So we have two great quarterbacks. You know, Aiden O'Connell was just a rookie last year. Maggie, if you want to compare him to Josh Allen, he had a better rookie season than him. So, he's 6'3".
Then why isn't he starting?
He's just young yet. Just give him time. I compare him to Neil O'Donnell from the Steelers. I watched that team a lot. He's very similar height. He throws the ball very similar, darts.
Yeah.
And it took O'Donnell a few years, but he got him to the Super Bowl. So, go back before you guys, and I'm talking to the whole media, starts mouthing off on Neil O'Donnell. I mean, he had a great career at Purdue. So this is,
Neil O'Donnell 2.0. That's fine. If he ends up having a Neil O'Donnell career, that would be great, Mike. But here's the thing. You can't honestly feel great about this situation. You might say, okay.
I can't. No, Maggie, I feel amazing because we're not tied into $60 million. We're building our defense. Maggie, we're going to have one of the top 5 defenses in the country, in the league.
So here's the thing. And here's my question for you. You're like, I don't want a $60 million quarterback. I don't want a $60 million quarterback. Mike, you are lying if you say that you wouldn't take one of those guys on your team right now.
Maggie,
any of those guys making season high. You would take Allen. You would take Burrow. You would take Mahomes. You would take Herbert. You would take Tua. You would take anything is better than what you have right now. You would be lucky to get a guy you can pay $60 million for.
There's no way you're not going to get me to say that. I love Justin Herbert. I'm an Oregon Ducks fan.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking him for $50 million when I can have Aiden O'Connell or Minshew. I mean, I'm happy with him because you're not getting the because, Maggie.
Okay.
Because we're building the rest of our team.
Okay.
I'd rather have a full team, a great defense. You don't know how good our defense is yet.
No, I think they are good. And Antonio Pierce might make them better. But Mike, what's the most important position in the NFL?
I'm not agreeing with you. I didn't say that. That's what you guys say. I want a full team. I want a full defense. These teams that have these $60 million quarterbacks are hurting in other positions. And we have an amazing defense. We have 5 playmakers on offense. None of our top 3 receivers played Saturday night.
Yeah,
so wait till they all come out.
That's fine, Mike. I watched Devontae Adams say on a Netflix special that he had editorial control over. I'm going to die out here. And, Mike, I appreciate it, and thank you for the passion.
Well, that was Jimmy G, though, right?
Okay. Do we?
He said specifically Jimmy G's going to kill me. He's the one who wanted to go to Aiden O'Connell.
Okay, but here's my thing about Aiden O'Connell. Like, if you think that he's your Neil O'Donnell or you think he's the future, like, the reality is he couldn't beat out a career backup right now. And they didn't even think, hey, we should put him out here so he can develop. If you have this great defense and you have this team with all these weapons and you feel so good about it, let the young guy go out there and learn on the job. It's not his rookie year. It is his second year. This is the time to get these valuable reps. To be sitting behind Gardner Minshew is not exactly sitting behind Mahomes. But
I'm really confused right now. I thought Mike was totally joking, and you're yelling at him. He's being serious about all that stuff?
Yes, he was definitely being serious.
Wait, no. He would rather have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew than Justin Herbert?
Because he doesn't want to pay a quarterback $60 million, he said. He wants to build a complete team. Wait, EJ, do you think that Mike was being serious, or was he not being serious?
No, he was being serious.
Yeah.
His point was essentially that, like, if the team is so bad that he needs to start building up something. So the fact that they're able to build up the defense first before paying the quarterback is, he thinks, great team building.
Right.
I personally would take Justin Herbert over Aiden O'Connell, but that's just me.
Well, I understand that.
What a hot take, EJ.
That was actually an interesting point by Mike. You got to have the quarterback come in at the right time. If you draft the quarterback too early and everyone around you is terrible, which might be Drake May's problem, because the Patriots' offense is really thin right now. Is the timing going to work out for him? Is he going to, within his 5 years of his rookie window, are they going to have enough talent to maximize him?
Well, I ask you about the Raiders. You have this great defense, but if you don't have an offense that can capitalize that, you're the Jets. The Jets have had this great defense, but they haven't had an offense, so your timing isn't lining up on that either.
And maybe that's why you haven't done anything in 20 years, and that's why the Jets we're talking about the Raiders here. No duh, they do things wrong. Hello? What are we talking about here? We're not talking about all of a sudden the Kansas City Chiefs are winning 9 games. This is the Raiders.
So it's funny. I actually thought Mike was also joking at the beginning of the call, too, when he's like, I'd rather have Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew than one of the $60 million quarterbacks. And then as the call kept going on, I'm like, no, he's being serious. Unless he said he was at work. I hope it's not a place where there's like fumes coming into like a warehouse or something.
Oh, it is Vegas.
Something. Yeah, right. He didn't say what type of work he was doing. No, I think he was being serious. Right? All right.
Definitely.
We never got to the Cowboys. I keep saying we're going to, but we got derailed. We also had 2 standout quarterback performances over the weekend, and the hype keeps growing and growing and growing. We'll get to that next. Maggie, Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break.
Perloff Show.
Okay,
There's someone in the chat who steals the show. He sings along, he cracks us up all day. We call him Wronger, but he's always right, okay. Oh, Wronger, our witty friend from the start until the end. In the comments, you're a sight, cheering us on, wrong or right. 30 years married, that's a long, long ride. With the Pacers and the Colts, he's got his pride. Running a pawn shop, wheeling, dealing gold. Wrong, he's got the best tales ever told. Wronger, our witty friend from the start until the end. In the comments, you're a sight, cheering us on, wrong or right. So here's to the laughs, the jokes, the memes. Wronger, you're more fun than a pint of ice cream. For every view, every like, every funny note, we thank you, dear Wronger, the laughter you promote. Wronger, our witty friend from the start till the end. In the comments, you're a sight, cheering us on, wrong or right. Maggie and Perloff, you're always in our hearts, and Wronger, you're the spark that ignites the best parts. Together we laugh, together we play. In this YouTube journey, you're here every single day. On Maggie and Perloff Show. Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and 3-point shots, she dives into conspiracies and connects the dots. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? JFK wasn't just a simple case. I got the scoop right here on my plate. She's got a playbook full of suspects, from mob bosses to alien insects. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make his state plot. Maybe it's something that we all forgot. She breaks it down like a post-game review, analyzing every clue. Oh, Mel, you're true. Oh, Maggie Gray, with your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? With your wild theories, you make history sound like a daytime series. From grassy knolls to the CIA, what will you dream of today? Oh, Maggie Gray on the radio waves, talking sports and scores and the games we crave. But when she's done with touchdowns and 3-point shots, she...
1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Positive vibes keep growing for this rookie quarterback class. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff. You're just getting caught up on things you might have missed over the weekend. I don't know, Perloff, your prediction for this rookie class may end up coming true, and I might have to end up biting the bullet on this one because Caleb Williams looked great.
Yeah.
Jayden Daniels looked very good again. Bo Nix has now entered the chat, so to speak. It looks like he could win that job in Denver. We know J.J. McCarthy is going to be out for the year. Michael Penix didn't play over the weekend, and am I missing? Oh, Drake May is in a redshirt year, basically, developmental year, but so far, 3 of these quarterbacks look pretty impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I lost J.J. McCarthy. That was a killer. But
He'll be back, though, next year.
Yeah, you got to look big picture. He looked great in his one game. I was surprised. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, all that stuff out of high school with his arm and his mobility. I think Caleb Williams might be getting a little hype because of the highlights right now because for a couple of reasons. One, he did miss a lot of passes. And I worry that Chicago, it's not as ideal a situation as everyone says. Yes, you've got all these talented players and all these names, but Shane Waldron's coming in as offense coordinator from Seattle, and he's not quite as known as some of the other OCs. He helped Geno Smith, but Geno Smith was 28 when he helped him. I just think there's going to be more growing pains than people are recognizing with Caleb.
I'm not with you on this one. Yeah. I think that we're getting the guy, and he's going to have the hype, and I think he's going to work out. And the reason why is because you can already see he's got this ability that we saw at USC, which is to extend the play, but he's not like taking off in a Justin Fields kind of way where you're just like, oh, you're running for your life, or you didn't make the right read, or you didn't process the second level, or all that stuff. It just feels like he's moving around in the pocket also, which is like crucial. And I think him and Odunze, like this could be, let alone DJ Moore, who's a $100 million receiver, by the way, and they just gave him a contract extension. But Odunze is awesome. And the fact that the two of them are going to be like coming up together, if you will. And here's the other part about the Bears. We're talking about the offensive side, and that's where we're focusing on. Have you seen on defense? They are hitting hard. I mean,
preseason.
I know, but I was impressed. So I think that Caleb has the inside track on Rookie of the Year. I think he's got the pole position, as Mike Tomlin would say. And Jayden Daniels also looks the part.
See, to me, Jayden Daniels looks like C.J. Stroud 2.0. It's just like he goes to progression 1, 2, 3, boom, it's there. He wasn't making any wow plays, and he did run a little bit, and he's way faster than Caleb. I mean, if he wants to set the rookie record for rushing yards, he easily could. He's blazing. But
don't want to expose him to getting hurt.
He ran for 1,500 yards or something insane last year. I know he took some big hits, but he's a little rubbery. That being said, to me, he looks way more seasoned and ready to go than Caleb. Like it's just like he drops back like, well, that's what an NFL quarterback looks like. And he's got Cliff Kingsbury as his OC, who obviously, to me, is a little more proven to work with young quarterbacks than Shane Waldron. This great the weapons around him are mixed. He's got Terry McLaurin's, who's awesome. I guess Jahan Dotson's been a bust there, but I just feel like it's also because he's older. feels like he's ready to go. I feel like I'm watching C.J. Stroud with Jayden Daniels, and I think he has a great chance to have a really good statistical rookie season.
Who do you think's going to have the better year?
I'm putting my money on Daniels for Rookie of the Year because I think that you get better odds. I know Caleb's number one. I just worry about the Chicago thing. 100 years of history of bad quarterback play. I worry about this isn't all going to come together and meet the hype. Nobody's really paying attention to Jayden. I think he can quietly be awesome in Washington.
Yeah, I mean that franchise, the fans have just been so beaten down, and you know that's going to take a while to earn their trust back. But that's the thing about Caleb. I was actually thinking the total opposite. As I'm watching the final drive that he did in that preseason game, I'm like, boom. Bears fans, you finally have it. You finally have something, right? This was, I think, the third time in franchise history they've ever had the number one overall pick, and this one is going to work out. And you're watching him effortlessly, at least it looks effortlessly, throwing a bomb to Odunze down the field. It's like this is, I know Jay Cutler had a big arm, but this feels different. And I was thinking to myself, finally, good for you Bears fans. You finally get somebody, the quarterback you've been coveting for your whole lives.
Oh, first of all, he's in the Hall of Fame. Don't get me wrong. He's going to be awesome. Right. Yeah. But don't you think there's going to be more? If you look at these two quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels, who do you think is more likely to have quote unquote growing pains? In the sense, and you know what I'm talking about, like running an NFL offense and sort of, I just think that, listen, this is Chicago Bears. Like, you really think he's going to have a lot of easy plays in front of him? Feels like they're going to make the level of difficulty hard for Caleb Williams. And it works in preseason, and he's going to have so many wow plays. It's going to be awesome. I just think it's going to be easier for Jayden Daniels to just sit there, boom, 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 and have a high completion percentage and occasionally run for we haven't even seen him really run. Once he's got jets.
He doesn't know how to slide? Why doesn't
he
slide?
Missed one slide. I mean, come on. Yeah.
Okay, so the other part, though, is there could be a few more wins out there for Jayden Daniels. I think the NFC North is going to be pretty tough. Lions, Packers, these are teams who feel like you're penciling them in for double-digit wins. Meanwhile, NFC East, a little bit different. Your Philadelphia Eagles will probably have a nice bounce-back year, I'd imagine, I think. Or Nick Sirianni will be fired in a couple weeks, who knows. Not sure about the Cowboys, and I think the Giants are going to be kind of at the bottom of the NFL barrel. So there might be a few just more wins there for Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, the Bears have a really crazy easy strength of schedule this year. Just everything sort of fell right for them. So they'll get some easy wins. But I worry, too. I just hope that Caleb's got to learn to throw the ball away, too. Like, he can't be USC Caleb Williams. Like, this is, at a certain point, he's gonna get hit hard. You worry about Jayden Daniels not sliding.
Yeah.
Caleb's running around, making plays. Someone's gonna catch him. This is preseason. No one's catching him in the preseason. I'm telling you, this is not a formula. This Mahomes stuff is not a formula for sustained success. Give him a couple of easy plays. I hope that season starts and they throw a bunch of screen passes.
855-212-4227 asking you who's going to have the better season from what you've seen so far. Is it Caleb Williams? Is it Jayden Daniels? On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, we're also asking you which team is the worst quarterback situation in the NFL? For the Bears, you got hope. For the Commanders, you've got hope. For the Broncos now, Bo Nix is looking the part. You've got hope. The Falcons had a plan here, whether you agreed with it or not. You got Cousins and then you've got Penix behind. The Vikings tried with McCarthy. He's just going to be hurt now. Drake May, you knew he was developing. These are teams that have a plan. Who are the teams with the worst quarterback situation? Because we've talked about a couple of them this morning. The Las Vegas Raiders, who named Gardner Minshew the starting quarterback over Aiden O'Connell. You've got the Steelers, who have this dogfight of a competition between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, but none of them have really been amazing. One guy's not blowing another guy out of the water. I don't know if those are two of the worst, but I'm not that excited about both the Raiders and the Steelers. Again, I don't know if it's the worst, but
you're not excited about Gardner Minshew? Yeah, but this again, to me, that's an April discussion. Now it's too late. The die has been cast on both those teams. Pittsburgh, look at what happened. Like, if you were Pittsburgh this offseason, okay, I would put your GM on. What would you have done differently? Tell me what you would have done.
To be honest, I don't know if I would have just stayed with Pickett.
Oh, you couldn't do that.
Why?
He was terrible last year.
with a terrible offensive coordinator. And then, by the way, when Matt Canada got fired and then Pickett had like a good 2 games, right? And then he got hurt. Like, there were a couple circumstances here that I felt like made it worse. Was it 1 game or 2 game? EJ, you're waving at me. Was it 1 game or 2 game with Pickett and then he got hurt?
Yeah, he definitely had a couple. I think it might have been a game, and then the next game he got hurt early in the game, like he was playing okay.
Right, that's what it was.
Yeah,
and he had like a 300-yard game or something without Matt Canada, and then he got hurt, and then for some reason he waved the white flag on just like even trying to compete for the starting job, and I guess that reveals a little bit about him. But I just thought I would have stayed with Pickett with a new offensive coordinator and tried to develop him more.
Nope, I totally disagree with that. I like Kenny Pickett as a person based on interviews. He's a Philly guy based in South Jersey. Nope, that was not the answer. I'd rather go Russell Wilson to Justin Fields than Kenny Pickett.
See, I don't know about that. EJ, you want to get in on this too.
The one thing tough about Pickett, I think football-wise, it might have made sense to keep him. But once the whole situation went down of whether he'll be QB2 to Mason Rudolph,
right?
What's the situation with Tomlin, the locker room situation might have been untenable. And I think that's something that I think, the Steelers, I think they're overrated in a lot of other ways, but I think they are good about keeping things in-house. I think they did their best to try to not make that Pickett situation look worse than it probably was.
But here's the thing, EJ.
Everything we heard was that it was a disaster in terms of whether or not he would come back and play if he was healthy and he was willing to be the backup.
So here's the thing about that, though. You got rid of Mason Rudolph anyway. So it's not like you were keeping Mason Rudolph. He's on a different team now. So you could have said, all right, Pickett listen, I don't think Pickett is I don't think he really handled himself great during that. It seemed like a lot of entitlement and a lot of, I should have this and I should have this, at least on the outside. And that's never what you want. You got to go out and earn it every day. That should be the standard. However, they end up getting rid of the dude anyway. So you could have just kept Pickett and kept a backup who I guess was less of a threat. I don't know.
By the way, you know what the number one story in Philadelphia is? Number one, not the Phillies getting hot again, nothing, is can Kenny Pickett hold off Tanner McKee for the backup job? Like, Pickett is not your guy.
I don't know. There was something about his ability at the end of games.
Ooh.
Like, somehow he would just get them back into these games. I don't know. But if you're asking me what I would have done, that's what I probably would have done. Or I would have, I don't know. I would have been trying to find the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. And to be fair, they did. Listen, they missed on a quarterback with Pickett. That's not unforgivable. But I don't love this setup either.
Yeah, I mean, they're a team that's been afraid to rebuild for a long time. And you're right, you probably have to just rip off the Band-Aid and be bad. Could be this year. I mean, listen, they've give Omar Khan credit. He's not tied to anybody. He gets to try out Justin Fields for a year. He could lose Russell. He could cut Russell Wilson tomorrow and be no problem at all. So let's not bury the Steelers. Maybe it'll be down for a couple years. They're going to get another Big Ben eventually. And Mike Tomlin, let's face it, the way EJ was talking about them earlier, I heard underneath what EJ was saying, let's fire Mike Tomlin. I mean, is that fair to say, EJ?
100%.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I was trying to say and now it's too late. Obviously, you're into the season. But I think
they just gave an extension.
But Tomlin's been getting credit. And to be honest, I want Tomlin to get fired for him, too. Because for a team that's supposed to be Super Bowl contenders, he keeps getting credit for winning 9 games and 10 games and not winning a playoff game. Like any other coach, you would have moved on from him. You would have said, look, clearly we've hit a ceiling and we can't get past that ceiling. So it's not anything that, it's not some kind of beef with the head coach, but we just clearly need to rebuild. This isn't working. I think the Steelers, it's almost like when you got a blanket that, at one time was like your comfy blanket, but now, it's got some stains. Now it doesn't smell that great, but it's still comfortable and you can always get through the night with it. That's what I feel like the Steelers have with Mike Tomlin, and they're not afraid to throw the blanket away. Yeah, you may be cold for a couple of nights, but maybe you'll actually be able to fix the situation as opposed to sticking to something that feels comfortable. And I think for Mike Tomlin, he would go somewhere else and he'd turn that team into a winner. Both of these sides, to me, watching this preseason, I'm it's so evident that these need to separate. The Steelers needs a new vision, someone who's more aggressive offensively, someone who's going to kind of reimagine what Steeler football is in 2024. And I think Tomlin needs a fresh start. This thing just isn't working. I don't see any scenario where the Steelers are back to being Super Bowl contenders under him right now. I don't see the path.
So here's the other part of this, though. I think that the Steelers might be a bit of a victim of the like legacy maybe is the wrong word of how they've treated their head coaches, right? I think it's become so a part of the identity of the ownership. We don't do knee-jerk firings, right? We've only had 3 head coaches. We are the model of stability, and we are this and we are that. And I think that they are maybe have fallen a victim to that because it's so about, of course, the Steelers head coach. No job is safer in the world than Steelers head coach. And maybe they're worried, everything would feel like a knee-jerk reaction and we should just stay and be consistent. And maybe they've fallen victim to it.
Well, I mean, I don't know. They've been a pretty good franchise.
Well,
you guys are sort of just. I mean, look, the Chargers fired Norv Turner when they were 14-2. I mean, not Norv Turner, the Marty Schottenheimer. I went to Norv Turner, and they, it's been 15 years of Zippo. So it's not like it's getting rid of that comfy blanket who guarantees a winning record always works out.
855-212-4227. All right. You are welcome to weigh in on the Steelers. The question, what's the worst quarterback situation in the NFL right now? I don't know if the Steelers make your list. You can go and vote. You can either write in submission or you can vote. We got Raiders, Steelers, Vikings, Broncos. Right now, the Raiders slight lead at 37% at Maggie and Pearl on X. Seeing a lot of Carolina Panthers, too. Giants. You can write in your submission here. Just got a text from my husband.
Okay, what's the latest?
So I shared with the audience earlier that there was some horrible rain on the East Coast yesterday and our basement flooded. I mean, flooded, like up to the first step going down to the basement. All of our stuff's just floating in the basement. Got an update for you. We'll read it to you next. What a day yesterday was. Good grief. That was the capper. That was like the nightcap of a crazy day. All right. We'll see what's going on in the basement. Plus, we have more football for you, including an update on CeeDee Lamb and the Cowboys. Don't move.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. "45 seconds remaining. "30 seconds remaining. "15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. You know what that music means. Cowboy, Quickie, what do you got, Maggie?
We've got an update for you on the never-ending CeeDee Lamb holdout. Here's Mike Garafolo of NFL Network says Lamb's not happy because the Cowboys offered $33 million per year.
My understanding is it's around 33, and for Lamb, that's still not good enough. The top of the market is 35 with Justin Jefferson, so he wants that to come up. And the structure, I am told via sources familiar with Lamb's thinking, needs to be worked on as well. Cash flow, guarantees, how that's going to be structured on the front half of the deal. So there's still a lot of work to be done here.
All right, more from Mike Garafolo, NFL Network, says CeeDee Lamb's agent. He's the guy you want, knows a thing or two about this wide receiver market because he did A.J. Brown's deal with the Eagles.
Lamb is represented by Torrey Dandy, an agent who knows this wide receiver market because he helped set the wide receiver. I mean, he's got a ton of receivers that he's done deals for over the last year, including A.J. Brown, who is right there below that tier that the Cowboys are trying to offer right now. So,
all right, so there's your Cowboy Quickie, little CeeDee Lamb contract update. Not exactly encouraging.
No, it doesn't make me nervous at all.
Really?
That is one situation. Brandon Aiyuk is legitimately a mess. I'm starting to face that fact. This is typical Cowboys, waiting until the end, overpaying. It's going to happen. They have to pay CeeDee Lamb. So what are we even talking about right here? And CeeDee Lamb knows it. I know 32, 33 sounds like a lot, but he's their entire offense. I mean, what, are you going to hand the ball to Zeke Elliott a bunch of times?
Yikes.
So this is, we've talked about this a lot this offseason. The Cowboys do tend to go late into the summer with these kind of things sometimes. So this is just, again, CeeDee Lamb is unhappy. You know what? He's negotiating. And you know what? The Cowboys are negotiating. They have to work this one out. It doesn't stress me at all if I'm a Cowboys fan. There's just no way. Explain to me what would happen if CeeDee Lamb wasn't there week one. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, the offense wouldn't look good. But here's the other part. So it's one thing if you are apart on a couple $1 million, right?
Right.
You can bridge the gap on that. Lamb comes down. They go up, whatever it's going to be.
Right.
But the structure of the contract, like, you guys have been working on this for months. You've known this was coming down the pike for over a year.
Right.
You still can't get the structure of how the cash flow and the payouts are going to go. Like,
It's called
to me,
negotiating, Maggie.
okay, fine. But like that to me is where this becomes a little troublesome. It's like you can't even get to that point.
Well,
Those things are still out there.
You make it sound like they're not doing some paperwork or something. No, they're negotiating to the last moment. They're trying to get the better deal. They're trying to keep some flexibility so CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons and Dak Prescott don't mess up their cap until the year 2036. I'm sure that's exactly.
Too late or too bad. I don't know. I think this is also what happens when you end up drafting well and you hit on guys.
Yeah. You know? Well, then again, that's what happens. You're also a winning team. You win 12 games every year. I honestly, again, let's not get caught up in this one. CeeDee Lamb, Aiyuk, we could talk about.
Right.
CeeDee Lamb, we are playing into the CeeDee Lamb Cowboys game. We're giving them because this just can't. Maybe Dak Prescott they don't sign. Again, there's zero chance that he's not going to be there.
But do you remember last week when Dak Prescott was that was the most confident you'd heard?
Yeah,
him,
I know. He keeps on getting close to signing too.
So, I mean...
So they're probably going to be Cowboys for the rest of our eternity and blow a bunch of wild card games. I mean, what's more likely right now as we sit here with a couple weeks until the season starts, that CeeDee Lamb is there, that Dak Prescott is the Cowboys quarterback for the next 5 years, and that the Micah Parsons will definitely sign, or that they surprise us and go in a different direction?
I don't know.
I do. They're going to be Cowboys. Dak Prescott's going to be there as long as we're in the industry, and he's going to do the same thing. Why? This is not a franchise that changes tune. They do the same thing over and over again. They really do.
Yeah, I understand. I just don't get why they keep making similar types of mistakes.
You mean like waiting to the last minute so they have to end up paying more, that kind of thing?
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes, that kind of thing. If they had actually just been proactive on this before A.J. Brown resets the market, before Justin, you had to get in before Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
They didn't do it. And now look at what's going on with Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase is now going to reset the market. Like you have to understand what's going on around you. And the moment Justin Jefferson signed that contract, you were screwed.
Yeah,
for the
but
Cowboys.
Justin Jefferson reportedly wanted $40 million and came in at $35. So
credit the Vikings for that, not credit the Cowboys.
Well, I'm just saying, like, they probably were like, whew, thank God he didn't get 40. I'm being serious. Like, I thought Jefferson was going to come higher than 35. And that's a number they can deal with.
EJ, you want to say something?
When I learned from Mike Garafolo in that clip that the guy that did A.J. Brown's deal and has done all these receiver deals is also CeeDee Lamb's agent, that made me feel like, what the hell are we actually doing here? Like, the Cowboys are trying to pull some flim-flam on CeeDee Lamb that I think is wasting time. They're like, if there's maybe other agents you could say, oh, we'll move some money around, make it look like it's the same deal that Justin Jefferson had or close to it, when this guy will know it's not. So, like, I think CeeDee Lamb in some ways maybe should have taken this deal because it's $33 million a year. He still will be one of the highest paid receivers. The fact that the Cowboys are even trying to pull some flim-flam over this agent and this agency team, knowing that they know the receiver market better than any other agency, that alone made me feel like the Cowboys are not being serious here. Like, they're trying to win a Super Bowl, and you're trying to nickel and dime CeeDee Lamb with an agent who knows where all the bodies are buried when it comes to wide receiver contracts.
Yeah, I think they all know. I think they all know, but it's a good point. It's like somebody who, you know, maybe the agent is telling them, listen, just keep holding strong, and we're going to tick down. It's going to be 20 days till the season. It's going to be 15 days before the season, but just hold strong because you know the Cowboys are going to cave. And they will cave. And this is a Cowboys problem to me, not a CeeDee Lamb problem. Again, needed to get this contract done before Justin Jefferson. That ship sailed a while ago, and they're the ones who are going to end up paying here, not CeeDee.
But Maggie, it's almost like going to someone who makes hamburgers for a living and giving them a veggie burger and saying that is the same.
Yeah.
This guy knows it's not the same. So why are we wasting our time here?
I just can't believe they still don't have the framework for the deal done. I was surprised by that.
Let's talk it. Let's talk it. October. Yes, this is same old. Cowboys have done this a bunch of times. It's really not a big deal. This is just called a negotiation. It's a holdout. CeeDee Lamb's still going to have 1,500 yards. They're still going to get walloped in the wild card round. I mean, nothing is changing. This is Cowboys business as usual. Nothing to see here. Move on. By the way, there's a lot of positivity there. Everyone's killing the Cowboys because they didn't make any offseason moves, which never mean anything, by the way. Winning the game in March means nothing. Has nothing to do with September. they have these two rookie offensive linemen that are mauling people already in preseason. Like, I think people are giving up on Dallas because, they're having the negotiations aren't ideal, but so what? It doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. Chris Jones was in the stands of week 1 watching his Chiefs, and they won the Super Bowl. Forget this, just negotiations. Let's not make a big deal out of something that is going to end up just fine.
So here's a question for you, though. Why isn't the Cowboys' win total less this year, lower this year than last year?
No, I think they were 10. Are they? They're not 10.5.
I don't know if it's the same. I think that there's an idea that you're like, everything's the same, everything's going to be fine. I don't think that's like the prevailing thought. And maybe because it's just the bad taste in everyone's mouth about that Packer game, but the loss to the Packers.
9.5 wins this year.
Yeah.
It was 10.5 last year.
Yeah, right. And so what actually has changed? Tony Pollard not on the team? He was a disaster last year. We talked to him at the Super Bowl. He still wasn't over it.
And they got Zeke back.
Yeah.
Lucky them.
They lost some defensive guys. They lost Dan Quinn.
You got Mike Zimmer. It's not like you replaced him with an unknown.
I mean, that's clearly a downgrade, right?
I don't know.
I mean, Dan Quinn is a great coach. Mike Zimmer, when's the last time Zimmer did anything in the NFL?
Well, he was getting paid by the Vikings. I think he was on a little bit of a vacation. 855-212-4227. Getting concerned at all about the CeeDee Lamb contract negotiation / holdout because NFL Network reporting the Cowboys are offering $33 million plus cash flow issues that maybe nobody's on the same page. Starting to get a little nervous. 855-212-4227.
That's sad.
As far as the update to my basement, we're going to hold off on that for a minute because I think we're going to be able to get my husband straight from the source. Our basement flooded last night and water's up to our calves, basically. Almost knee.
Not great.
No, it's not what you want, as Joe Girardi would say. Pat Boyle is here with headlines. What's up, Pat?
Hey, we've hit on a lot of the preseason action from this weekend so far. Some of the things we haven't mentioned in detail yet. Potential Super Bowl preview and rematch of last year's opening night. Chiefs-Lions in KC. Bunch of Chiefs starters played, including Patrick Mahomes. Went 8 of 14 for 93 yards. Led 2 field goal drives. Also ripped off that sick behind-the-back pass to Travis Kelce on a 3rd and 3 play that picked up 8 yards. Here was Mahomes after the game. Not scripted.
Wasn't how it was drawn up, but I always told you it has to happen naturally. I can't force it, and I did it, and then I actually forgot about it, and then as the game went on, they asked me about it. I was like, oh yeah, it probably looks pretty cool, but I haven't actually got to see it yet.
I don't buy that at all.
Then it wasn't scripted? What do you mean?
That was absolutely. They definitely did that in practice, and he was like, preseason, screw it. Let's find a play to do it. There's no way he overrolls Travis Kelce like that, a play that he's probably done hundreds of times, and then, I have to improvise, let me throw it behind my back.
So apparently he was saying that Kelce did the wrong thing, and that's why he had to recover. He was kind of like saving Kelce's butt by doing that. That was another explanation. I think they were 100% trying this in the preseason. I think he's probably not going to play next game, right? So this was like his last chance. And you know that's funny about the Chiefs. They will always do a trick play when they don't need the trick play.
In regular games.
Yeah.
Not crucial, but the second quarter of a tie game. Well, they line up and they run around like a merry-go-round before a goal line play.
The ring around the rosy. It's like, I never understand why they don't save this stuff for when you actually need it. They'll have an offensive lineman scoring a touchdown when they're already up 2 scores in a game in October. I'm like, you just put this on film now for everyone. You can't run it again. You burned your trick play when you didn't have to.
I don't mind it. I love it. It's just don't tell me it wasn't scripted.
But can we be clear about one thing? He'll do this stuff in any moment. He will try. He broke his first left-handed pass, won a game single-handedly against Denver. I remember it. Case was starting for the Broncos at the time. They were about to win the game. It was 3rd and 30, and he threw a left-handed pass for 18 yards that just killed them. So, he's done the no-look in significant moments too. This is not. He's not just hiding this in the preseason. He'll try anything at any time.
The play's never over with him. That is the most frustrating part about playing against Patrick Mahomes. He's running out of bounds. It's the sideline. You think he's sacked. All these things, and it's just the play's never over. That's why he's so brilliant.
Yeah. Lions ended up winning 24-23 on a walk-off field goal from Jake Bates. They seemed just okay after, was it Badgley, right? The hamstring injury?
Yep, out for the year.
Elsewhere, we touched on Dolphins Commanders last hour, 13-6 win for Miami. Tua, a perfect 5 for 5 with a touchdown in his preseason debut. Jayden Daniels looked really good, 10 of 12 for 78 yards. You guys mentioned, though, how he needs to learn how to slide. Here was Dan Quinn after the game regarding that subject. Let me go if you guys recognize something.
Double secret probation he is on, all right? And but no, for him, I thought he had another really good outing, honestly. I don't know passing-wise what it was, but the accuracy, the decision-making of where to go.
You guys recognize
the double secret probation from Animal House?
Yes.
So
you guys didn't touch on that during the show, did you?
No.
Okay, I was going to say.
It's a great line. Love the movie, obviously. Here's okay. After the first preseason game, remember when Jayden Daniels threw that awesome pass to
De'Ami Brown?
Yes, thank you. He went off script for that.
Really?
Yeah. Remember they said after, like, that was not the play call?
Yeah.
And he did that. And now he's not sliding, even though presumably they're telling him, you've got to slide. So everything's happy, and they're going to do, like, he's kind of outwardly defying the coaching staff in 2 different preseason games.
I mean, how many times has he not slide?
I don't know, but again,
There's one play, and he immediately popped up and ran right over Dan and said, "I'm sorry, that was my mistake."
Well, the funny
That's
thing
one
is,
play.
we would never know if it was a thing until Dan Campbell is telling us after the games. Dan Campbell. They wish. No, it's like we didn't know that was not a play call to De'Ami Brown. We didn't know that they were going off script on that one, and then we didn't know that he's going to be in double secret probation for not sliding.
Yeah, well, Dan Quinn's going out of his way to let us know these are things he's doing on his own.
Again, it's not a problem. I just noticed it.
They got in an altercation. I mean, Dan was screaming at him, so he had to explain it. He had to explain that. I get it, but like this is you're sort of painting a picture of, do we have an issue of Jayden Daniels being a rebel or something? It seems farthest thing from it.
I'm not
the most coachable player in the entire NFL. He's like, it's a love fest.
Not that I'm worried about him being a rebel and there being an altercation. I'm just worried about him not sliding and then getting destroyed.
Oh, absolutely. But that goes back to LSU. I've never heard a coach talk about a rookie like Dan Quinn talks about Jayden Daniels. That's a love affair.
Well, he also is smart to do that because his job security is directly tied to Jayden Daniels' success or failure.
Bingo.
Right. But there's definitely no issue. Like I don't think it's an issue. Jayden Daniels.
Right. I don't think it's an issue. I'm just noticing it. I'm going to put it that way.
I think you're noticing is off base. I think Jayden Daniels is a big team guy. I think they're not going to be a great team because, listen, they don't have that much talent. But it's not going to be because there are bad vibes around. I think everybody is on the same page there. And Dan Quinn is totally a player's coach, and so is Cliff Kingsbury. Like, this is going to be – they're all going to go down together, but there's not going to be any friction here. It's 0.0 friction. You disagree?
I'm just telling you I noticed. You can't say you can't say that he's following every order to a T because he's not. And the only reason I know that is because the coach is telling me.
Gosh,
So the vibes could be fine. I'm not saying they're bad vibes. I'm just saying I noticed it.
I'm just saying you're noticing I think you're headed down the wrong direction. I think Dan Quinn loves Jayden Daniels.
Perhaps a hop, skip, and a jump into over conclusion land.
I'm just saying I
agree with Maggie.
I didn't say that was teetering on the brink of total dysfunction. That's the Eagles. No, the Commanders, the vibes are good.
I think it's notable that Jayden Daniels is running the offense like a fine-tuned machine, and Caleb Williams is going out there and playing like it's in his backyard. Like Jayden Daniels is running the NFL offense. Him and Bo Nix look like, geez, these guys are 8-year veterans who all of a sudden, how they got the playbook down so fast is crazy. Like he just said short pass, short pass, short pass, short pass. Like he's a coach's dream. And you're painting this thing like he's some Brett Favre gunslinger guy. He's the opposite. Caleb's a gunslinger. Jayden's a team guy. That's very obvious.
What else you got, Pat?
Yeah, but so the Olympics in the rearview mirror. Down the road lies the 2028 LA Olympics, which will feature flag football for the first time. Did you guys see that promotional commercial with Jalen Hurts? He lights the torch and he says, "It's our time."
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like a internet video?
Yeah. So I guess it wasn't a TV commercial, but yeah. So then you combine that with Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams. They've both openly expressed their desire to play flag football, and we should be in good hands. Well, don't tell that to Darrell Doucette, Team USA flag football's current quarterback. He took offense to that promotion. In an interview conducted with The Guardian, Doucette, who's 35, said, quote, "We just don't think they're going to be able to walk on the field and make the Olympic team because of the name, right?" End quote. Doucette led Team USA to a gold medal at the 2022 World Games in Jerusalem. Team USA has won 5 of the past 6 World Championships.
How did we lose?
Get a dose of reality, Daryl Doucette.
I mean, not to harp on the negative, but how did we lose one of those? Anyway, we invented the sport. I don't think this is going to be an issue because I don't think that the NFL players are going to be able to play. It's so close to the season. How would the Cincinnati Bengals could say, all right, Joe Burrow, we're going to let you leave for a month and do this thing in LA and we'll see you in August? It doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, NFL, unlike the NBA, is super focused on winning championships, and I don't think this will ever fly. I mean, it's not like it actually matters who wins the Super Bowl. It's not like, let's pretend that the Olympics are a big deal like basketball.
Wait, hold on. I've got another question, though. This dude who got really upset is the starting quarterback for our flag football team right now.
Correct.
He's going to be 40 by the time the Olympics rolls around again?
He's a man. He's 40.
That's all.
He'll be 39.
That's our best we can do is we got a 40-year-old quarterback. Where's the next generation? Who's building this team?
Let's face it, dads are great steady quarterbacks in the backyard. I'm
All-time
totally
QB.
Yeah. He's definitely the both playing for both teams. I mean, what's wrong with a 40-year-old flag football quarterback? It's not like he's out there scrambling, Maggie.
Well, but that's my question. There's nobody younger. We got quarterbacks on quarterbacks on quarterbacks. It's our best export in this country, our quarterbacks. We need a 40-year-old to win us the gold?
Maybe that's
your
Zach Wilson.
problem.
Maybe that's
this guy
Zach
thinks he's
Wilson's
better than Joe Burrow, and you're worried about the fact that he's 40.
Maybe that's Zach Wilson's calling in 4 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe we need some of the guys who washed out or kind of became bust to sort of try.
Him and Trubisky.
I don't think Trubisky can hack it. I really don't. Still turnovers. Anyway.
Do you guys want to do the Seinfeld shirt or push it back another hour?
We're going to push it back all week. No, I'm just kidding. 855-212-4227. That'll be our running joke. We never get to the Seinfeld bit. Okay, coming up, we do want to check in with the 49ers, and we do want to check in with my flooded basement. 2 very tenuous situations, to be honest. Urgency to both matters. We'll get to that next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, last night, getting my kid ready for bed, and this horrible rainstorms are happening all throughout New Jersey. Welcome to the show, by the way, Maggie Gray and Perloff. Terrible rainstorms on the East Coast. And all of a sudden, I just hear from my husband, the basement's flooding. The basement's flooding. And so a couple expletives left my mouth, unfortunately, in front of the 5-year-old. I get him out of the tub, and we rush downstairs, and it was just a shipwreck down there.
Oh, no. Yeah.
It was awful. Water just pouring into the basement. All of our stuff is floating, like all of our storage and everything just floating on top of the water.
How many inches are we saying?
Okay, well, I thought it was like about up to our like mid-calf. Yeah, like not a foot. But anyway, so I've been dying for an update this morning of what's going on with the basement. So my husband is on the line. Honey, what is going on with the basement? Is there still water in there?
Guys, good morning. Thanks for having me.
First time, long time.
Yeah, first time, long time. Yeah, I can confirm that things that were floating are no longer floating. So we've got all the boxes and crates and things they've returned to settling on the ground.
Okay,
which is good.
Good. The water's gone then.
Most of the water's gone. A few random wet spots. But yeah, water's gone.
Okay. What does it smell like down there?
Well, to be honest, I was expecting a worse smell. I wasn't sure if there would be, some critters down here, some water critters. I wasn't sure like what sort of swamp situation we'd have. But,
like an alligator?
Yeah, because I wasn't sure.
Those New Jersey alligators, head on a swivel. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a muskrat kind of like going through the water. I don't know. But we're clear of the critters, too. So that's promising.
Can I ask a delicate question here?
This is my husband who's on the phone. And by the way, unfinished basement. So we don't have any carpet or anything down there. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
Was there any sort of, how do I put this lightly, plumbing-related issues with this water? Was this water clean or did it feel like a little bit of sewage water? Because I've had that in basements when I was growing up.
Ooh, no, this is thankfully, no. Thankfully, this is just storm water.
Okay, good.
It's
nothing's floating around.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
It comes pretty fast and furious when it really storms. We do have a sump pump. The sump pump is still running, But the basement's dry. But yeah, no sewage, thank God.
All right. So my husband is on the phone. He's giving us an update. The water is mostly receded out of our basement. It looked like a shipwreck yesterday. Things were just floating in. How many inches do you think we had, honey? Like, not a foot, but not that far off.
Almost a foot, yeah. But not quite. Almost a foot, probably.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Perloff also walked in this morning and goes, so are you worried about mold? Should we be worried about mold? What are we going to do about that?
Well, now we're getting to the hard-hitting questions.
Do you have answers?
I mean, I think we should think about it. I mean, I think we have to do some cleaning down here. I haven't gotten to the mold question yet.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I mean, the preliminary results are that it doesn't smell terrible. If that does smell count for a mold inspection? I don't know.
I think mold is odorless. I'm not an expert at this. Anyone know?
No. Now this is all things. Can we like Google that or something? Anyway. All right. Well, thank you, honey, for checking in. Yeah.
Andy, I want to hear. So Maggie was talking about, she was worried about some wedding related stuff. What were you most nervous about losing in the basement?
I told them that you brought my wedding dress up.
Yeah.
Right
Do you have
away.
any baseball cards or anything valuable that you had to panic about?
Well, there's probably two things. One is that there is a stack of baseball cards.
My worst nightmare
down here. It's like a crate of old baseball cards. Luckily, those were in this like sort of plastic container that floated. So it just floated up.
Yeah.
Like unbothered.
Was there like a Griffey Jr. rookie card in there?
Subtle, flood protection note. Like, just if you can devise things to float, it'll actually protect everything.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, wait, what's a good? Are you a collector, or are these just random cards from your youth?
So these are random cards these are mostly Maggie's brother's baseball cards from his youth.
The Jeff Gray collection.
And how did that end up in the Maggie Gray basement?
Story. We got a lot of Jeff Gray collection.
Long. We might have to loop in Maggie's whole family.
We don't have that kind of time. And you know they're not awake. Thank you, honey. And I got good luck. I don't know. We're in this together, but I feel like you're really the point person on this. So,
Yeah,
good luck with all that.
I'm starting with some optimism, and that'll quickly kind of, I think, evaporate into frustration and anger in about 30 minutes when they dig into this. So,
Fantastic. It's gonna be a hell of a day for us. All right, thank you, honey. That's my husband, Andrew. I'm calling in with an update on the basement.
I'm looking at the weather here. That's the key issue. So
the water's gone. Yes,
we
thankfully.
got rain in New York tonight at 6 p.m.
Awesome. More
and
rain.
then a lot of sun. That'll be good. But the funny thing about the rain last night is, did they warn anybody about this? Like it looked like a movie set. It was raining so hard at our house. Did anyone say we're going to have record rains again? It keeps coming out of nowhere.
No, but so I did get an alert on my phone, but it was while me, you, and EJ were doing our pre-production call. So I just quickly dismissed it and didn't even read it.
Oh, really? Because we got tons of rain. What was the alert? I didn't get an alert.
Flash flooding.
Flash flooding. Oh, boy.
Yep, and that definitely happened. So now all of our stuff was just floating by in the basement. I don't know about the mold thing. I don't have like a good...
We have a mold issue right now.
How are you dealing with it?
We have an apartment that is below us that is getting a leak out of nowhere. And they thought it was our washing machine.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, no.
So they took out our washing machine and cleaned all the drains and put it back in. They're like, oh, it's fixed. And then the next day, the leak's still here. So they think there's water sloshing around between the two floors, the 8th and 7th floor of our apartment building. That sounds bad, right?
Yeah, but you're lucky. I mean, in some ways you're lucky because you feel terrible for your neighbors, but your apartment isn't the one that's water's leaking into. You're the cause of the leak. You don't have to deal with the leak.
Yeah, but if mold gets in between the floors, then we're out. Like you have to. But the apartment next to us had the same problem, and they took 2.5 years before they could move back in.
What?
EJ, you grew up in New York City. You know mold can be a problem. I don't know if you grew up in an apartment building.
No, mold's a huge problem. The having the water between the floors is as someone who's lived with this situation, that is bad. Like, I'm actually now a little concerned about your living situation, to be honest.
Yeah. No. We have engineers in the building right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
we're all dealing with this. I feel like America, I got so many responses, been there, done, I've been in your shoes before, but no one is talking about the mold situation. And is this going to be a problem? And then what do we do about it? This is the whole basement. All right. Well,
Mold does smell, by the way.
It does smell?
Mold does smell. Yes.
Like
that is
musty.
something yes.
Okay. Well, thank you to my husband, Andrew, who called in to give us an update from the basement. Water's gone, everybody. And now we just have to throw everything away.
Yeah.
Everything
But the baseball cards floated.
and the baseball cards were floating.
That's hysterical.
855-212-4227. All right, coming up, we've got the best and the worst from preseason week 2. It's the M&P 500 coming your way next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Maggie and Perloff on the Infinity Sports Network.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. Hour 3? Are we in the third or fourth hour? Sorry, I'm thrown off. Maggie's getting coffee. She's still panicked. Her basement flooded over the weekend. She's not herself. Her husband just called in and had an update. It's drying out, but now the fear of mold is on her mind. She's been wandering around the office mumbling, does anyone know anything about mold? She is back. Maggie, you okay?
No, I'm not okay. Welcome to the show. Did you already say hi to everybody?
No, we're 2 minutes in. I did 3 minutes on the Bills wide receiver situation, and you weren't there.
Oh, sorry. I'll have to catch the podcast. Did you talk about the Steelers yet?
No. You guys, I was talking about your panicking about mold and how little you understand about it. I feel like the word, it's a 4-letter word that just, you think it's dangerous. I could tell already you've never experienced it.
No, I haven't. You told everybody that my basement flooded?
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So basement flooded. Husband just called.
Yeah,
almost a foot
that.
of water. Husband called. The waters receded. A lot of our stuff is ruined. And now we have to worry about mold. So if anyone's ever dealt with this before, it's an unfinished basement. But if anyone's ever dealt with this before and maybe has some ideas about what to do, what are the next steps? Like, we have no idea.
Well,
So we'll take any advice you have.
I was going to tell them the reason you couldn't pay attention to your basement is you were too busy studying preseason because, man, there was actually a few starters who played. Half the games were total garbage. I feel like week 2, you're supposed to play your starters, but some teams are like, nah, we're good. I don't understand the new rhythm of preseason.
Me neither.
But I did learn a lot from certain games. I think we need to dive into it.
Okay, why don't we hit the M&P 500? Let's do a little stock up, stock down from week 2.
The M&P 500 on the Infinity Sports Network.
All right, can I get us started?
Yeah,
okay.
go ahead.
I mentioned them earlier in the show, but there is a pair of Cowboys linemen, Cooper Beebe, who's a center, and Tyler Guyton, who is going to be a tackle, who there's video out there. They were mauling guys. Beebe blocked his guy, threw him to the ground, then grabbed another guy and threw him to the ground like Jefferson from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. They Cowboys, say what you want. Yeah, they have not figured out their contract situation with Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. This team can draft offensive linemen. I think they did it again. I am all about the O-line. Now, it's a little weird because they don't have a surefire starting running back to be behind these guys. But my guy Deuce Vaughn also looked pretty nifty running back out of Kansas State, second year. So maybe they figure out something. The basement about how bad the Cowboys can be. If they continue to build these elite offensive lines, they are going to be a 9, 10, 11, 12 win team for a long time. So I give them a little credit for that. All the negative headlines about Dallas, finally a good headline.
Yeah, that's definitely stock up Dallas Cowboys offensive line. But here's the question, why is the win total lower?
But it's at 9.5. That's playoff.
And you have like Mike McCarthy in a contract. This is a stock up. You're right, but I would say on the whole, stock is down for the Cowboys. Yes.
Well, you say win total went from 10.5 to 9.5. They let up 48 points in the wild card.
Yeah, that's
game.
probably it.
And also too, I think that they haven't had a great offseason. They didn't sign anybody. Everybody else improved. The Eagles dramatically improved. The Commanders dramatically improved. The Giants probably improved, and the Cowboys did nothing. So that's why the win total went down one game. But I think, again, like, people overreact to March. They just always do.
My stock up off after preseason week 2. How about Derek Stingley Jr.? Now, I understand that Daniel Jones was extremely rusty. The Giants' offense was not awesome. But, Stingley, we talk just so much about the Texans' offense and about C.J. Stroud, and now they added Stephon Diggs, and you've got Tank Dell, and you've got Nico Collins, and how they're just the offense. The defense is really good. We forgot about that. And Stingley may be one of the best corners in the league. So my stock up is going to be Derek Stingley, who had a really nice interception. And actually could have had a second one. It was just
really nice. I could have picked that off and walked it in the end zone.
Sure. And Jalen Petrie, a nice tandem there. But Derek Stingley Jr., Houston Texans defense, that's my stock up. Okay, now we got to do stock down, Pro, if we're going to go stock up.
I'm going to jump all over somebody that I think you might pick. My guy, Brock Purdy, looked bad. I don't know what was going on. I don't know why he was out there. He was running around. He made a Patrick Mahomes type play and basically threw it straight to the other team. And then he missed another pass. I think they were worried he's going to be rusty. I've been bullish on the Niners all offseason because everyone's like, they're in trouble. Brandon Ayuk's outside. They're in trouble. Christian McCaffrey's limping. They're in trouble. Trent Williams is not shut up. I'm like, it'll all come together at the last moment. I'm not so sure anymore.
Really? You're worried about Purdy?
Maybe
I'm
nervous.
surprised.
I'm worried about Purdy. I mean, I still think Purdy is great. I think he's unbelievably moving around and resetting his platform and having those great kind of Mahomes throws. And he did it on Saturday, but then it was yesterday. And it did not look good at all, the result. I'm a little worried that the Niners better get Trent Williams in there. I was thinking back to their 3-game losing streak last year, and I thought it was because Debo was gone. But also Trent Williams was hurt for part of it. So right now the Niners better get serious after Sunday's game and just say, listen, we got to I know we're talented, but we got to stop screwing around. Now it's time to get serious.
Wow. I did not think I would ever see this out of you. First of all, I'm usually the one who's been more negative on Brock Purdy, and even I'm not putting a lot of stock into this preseason when it comes to him. Now the team itself feels like one injury after the next. They canceled the preseason. They canceled the joint practices, right?
So Purdy was 2 for 6, 11 yards. That didn't worry you?
Well, I'm just saying, I think that he's one of those guys that I kind of give the benefit of the doubt to. He's not one of the people I look at the preseason and think, man, he's really got to get some things right here.
I moved him down on my fantasy draft board. That's why and again, it's not. You're right. It's not his fault. But maybe I was being too stubborn when I said the Niners will figure it all out. Honestly, I could have been an error in my ways. You also had a great point about the Super Bowl hangover. Maybe it's a real thing. I just think that something's going on there. Something weird is going on where they all got to get on the same page. The fact that Trent Williams held out and he was still under contract and he's 35.
Well, he wants more guaranteed money.
Dude, you're 35. Just get out there. My guy Brock needs you.
He can show up 2 days before the season and he'll be fine. All right, that's your stock down is on Brock Purdy. I am very surprised. My stock down, Pittsburgh offense. I know, Perloff, you try to warn me.
Stock down from where?
Arthur Smith.
They're already a penny stock.
From what I thought they could be. I think it's time to go to Justin Fields here because at least he is a dynamic runner. And we know he could throw in college. So I don't know why he can't throw now, but we'll work on that. Your ceiling is much higher, I think, with what could be for Justin Fields than what it is with Russell Wilson. Unfortunately, Russell Wilson doesn't have the escapability that he used to have. And if your offensive line is not going to be good, and they were bad on Saturday, and Russ was hung out to dry, then you need someone who's going to be able to save themselves, get away. And Russ hangs onto the ball a little bit too. So I was just a little bit stock down, disappointed on a new offense for the Steelers, and it was just only going horizontal. Like, why was this? There's just no verticality at all in the offense, and that's a problem in this day and age in the NFL.
I don't know. I thought Russ had some nice throws, some downfield throws. He had a couple.
One to Pickens.
Yeah, which was out of bounds. He had
and one over the middle of Van Jefferson. And
that was a sweet little
But
play.
they weren't even using the middle of the field. Again, it's preseason. Maybe they're just holding stuff back. But
yeah, I think the problem is going to be their running game. They're going to lean on Najee Harris. They better create some lanes for him. Otherwise, looking at a lot of 2nd and 3rd and 8. Okay, stock up. We back to stock up. I'm
stock
going
down. Oh, you want to go another round? Let's do it.
Oh, definitely. Oh, I thought. Oh, it is. What are the rules of M&P 500? You pick one.
Generally.
Well, I wouldn't have picked Brock Purdy if that was the case. But can I go another stock up?
Of course.
Bo Nix.
Yes.
It is. I don't know if he's going to earn the starting job there. He had a touchdown that they called back because he was over the line of scrimmage when he threw it. That was just a thing of beauty. What strikes me about him is his control. He sees the field like a veteran, and he doesn't panic at all. If I was a rookie quarterback, I would drop back there and be like, I got to throw. I don't know what to do. He is so calm.
Yeah.
It is just nuts. Because as a young player at Auburn, I think he was the opposite. I think he was erratic and was too soon to take off. Now he looks like he has a great mix of when to run and when to stay. I think this is very promising. And maybe Sean Payton. I was really down on Sean Payton coming into this year. Now I see a lot of hope.
My second stock up, I don't know if his stock could be any higher, so this is a blue chip stock. And that's Mahomes now is throwing behind the back passes? What are we doing? How does anyone have a prayer? He can throw left-handed. He can throw the no-look pass, and now he's doing behind the back. What's next? Through the legs? I mean, how many trick passes did he do to Steph Curry from the logo? What's left in the repertoire? But that was a highlight that made the rounds. Patrick Mahomes, he said he was going to do it. He did it in that preseason game. I'm sure he'll do it during the season. It'll probably save them on a drive extending play that only he and Kelsey could have ever dreamed up. So Mahomes, the highest stock we have, goes up even more.
Oh, you might even forget the behind the back. Xavier Worthy looking like a real target.
And he had a long bomb to Worthy.
Yeah. So
4
that's
catches, I think, for Worthy, right?
That's exciting.
The Bills will never live that down, by the way.
All right. Well, stock down. Oh, I don't know. You don't like Keon Coleman? Looks like a big physical
just
guy.
The fact that they traded the pick to the Chiefs to hand them a weapon.
Did you really?
Live
I don't know. I feel like Xavier Worthy in Buffalo, that was not going to work. So the Chiefs were going to get him anyway. So I like Keon Coleman. Okay, my stock down is going to be, I mentioned earlier in the show, Keenan Allen, according to Albert Breer, checked in at 230 pounds to training camp. He's 32. You watch the Bears offense, he doesn't feel like a big factor right now. I'm a little bit worried that this is not going to happen for Keenan Allen to be the consistent star that he's been with the Chargers. Well, I think I at a certain point said the Bears have a top 5 wide receiving core with DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and Keenan Allen. There's only so many targets. I feel like he's going to be the odd man out.
I mean, good thing for them, they've got DJ Moore and they've got Odunze, so it's not like the cupboard's totally bare. But yeah, you're right. You want a little bit from Keenan Allen. Maybe if he's a little heavier, he's a little sturdier?
Yeah, but 32, I've gone back and forth. EJ called me out because immediately I was at first down on Keenan Allen. Then I was like, yes, Keenan Allen's a perfect possession receiver for a rookie quarterback. But now I don't even know if Caleb Williams wants a possession receiver. He might just want to sling it downfield to Rome Odunze. So it just feels like you look at that receiving core and they have 2 good tight ends, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett. There's only so many targets. I don't know what happens to Keenan Allen. I'm not saying he gets cut, but I do not see the typical 1,300 yard receiving season for Keenan Allen.
Final stock down from me. I'm down on the Raiders. You decided between Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. You're trying to go toe to toe with Mahomes and Herbert here. Let's stop bringing knives to gunfights.
Are you?
Well, you should be. And the funny part is, if Bo Nix, one of your stock ups in the M&P 500 that we're doing right now, if Bo Nix ends up becoming a factor, well, now you're really behind the 8 ball. And I just don't know what Devontae Adams is doing on that team. I don't know what Max Crosby's doing on that team. And I know Antonio Pierce is trying to change the vibes, but I don't think it's going to translate to wins. So there you go. There's your M&P 500.
By the way, one more thing I totally love that we haven't got to yet. Brandon Aubrey, the Cowboys kicker, 66 yards. That is, I know it's preseason. That's amazing. I am so fired up to see them try that in the regular season. Anyway, I love long field goals. The guy, so 66, he was at midfield I don't even know why they tried it. Maybe they won't do that in the regular season, but that was awesome too. Sorry, I thought M&P 500, we had many choices. Did we, for the Olympics, I feel like we did 3.
Yeah, we can always do more. I mean, there's tons of stuff. I didn't even get to Cleveland Browns offensive line. 3 more injuries. You got your right tackle and your left tackle both on PUP, and now you had 3 more injuries in their latest game. 3 guys left the field.
Yeah. How good are those guys? The other question.
I don't know.
I know Jedrick Wills was picked high, but...
Well, he's on PUP, and Jack Conklin on PUP.
I'm just saying, we'll see. You were talking, you had the Steelers and the Browns in the Super Bowl contention last week. Are you ready to jump off that bandwagon, the AFC North bandwagon?
I'm going to put a pin in it. Can we corporate speak? Can I circle back on this that prediction? No, I'm sticking by it. 855-212-4227. If you have a stock up or stock down from the weekend, stock down on me and my whole family because our basement flooded last night. Major storms. So stock down on all of our valuables and sentimental keepsakes. Thankfully, I've asked you guys for some help because Perloff scared me when I came in this morning. I go, man, my basement flooded. He goes, ooh, what are you doing about the mold? I was like, what? What do you mean? What mold? Ethan's in Pennsylvania. Ethan, help me. What do you think I'll automatically have mold because I had a foot of water in my basement that's now thankfully receded?
I don't think so at all, Maggie. I think you're fine. I spent my first 32 years living in Michigan. We had these things called Michigan basements. They just slabs and like cinder blocks.
Yeah.
They tend to leak a lot. So I had mine flood probably 4 times. The first thing you have to do is get all the wet stuff out of there.
Yeah.
But it'll probably cost you a couple $100, but you need big drum fans.
Okay, I'm writing this down.
You need to run them down there for 2 weeks and move them all around. Make sure you get the corners and everything. That's what I did. I never had a mold problem.
All right. Drum fans. Searching it out on Amazon right now. Ethan, thank you for that. You made me feel a little bit better. See, Perloff, I might not have mold for sure. Nadal's also on the line. Nadal, good to hear from you, man.
Hey, what's going on? Good morning.
How you doing?
I've been good. I wish I could say the same for you. I know you're panicking.
Little bit.
I know. Yeah, my schedule is back to normal. Kids are back in school, so I can listen to your show again. But anyway, when I lived in the KC Metro, growing up there, we dealt with this a lot, Maggie. And, the good news is you have an unfinished basement. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay. So that you have going for you, right? And the previous caller nailed it on the head with the drum fans. You definitely want that. I assume your home insurance policy has a clause with flood damage and all that. So you need to contact them, and they'll step in and get some work done, get a water damage company and get it all cleaned up for you and sucked out, all the water sucked out. But let's be honest here, there is definitely a possibility of some mold starting to grow. So if you nip it in the bud early, you're okay, right?
Yeah.
And these water damage companies, I just dealt with it with one of my restaurants in Kansas City. Commercial rates are a little higher than residential, as we all know. I spent a couple $1,000, but residential should be a lot cheaper. But they will nip in the bud for you. They'll spray it. They'll kill it. You'll be all right. It's just I'm really happy though that it's unfinished basement. That's key. That's awesome.
Hey, quick question: what actually happens with mold? Like, what does it do to the human beings? Is it deadly?
It's just like you don't want to be breathing it in.
I know that, but like, how dangerous?
Exactly. She's right. You don't want to breathe it in.
Yeah, I know that. But what's the impact of it?
Let's find out. I don't know.
No, I had to wipe down my vents just yesterday in my apartment complex, my apartment in Dallas. I found disgusting amounts of mold. Me and my son Kareem, we just wiped it down, cleaned it up, and I put a service request for them to clean out the air ducts themselves on the inside, right, to get to the root of the problem. So I wish you luck, but it sounds like you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You guys are on top of it.
Thank you, Nadal. I got to get some of those drum fans. Appreciate you. Glad that we're fitting back into your schedule. That's fantastic. According to a quick internet search, inhaling mold can cause a variety of symptoms: allergic reactions, asthma attacks, and irritation, sneezing, runny nose, red eyes, skin rash, coughing, wheezing, difficulty breathing. This sounds like one of those drug commercials, like the side effects.
But okay, so it's not
It
deadly.
could cause everything bad to happen. It can irritate your eyes, throat, lungs. Yeah, this is not good. I don't want this. I got a 5-year-old son. He can't get exposed to this. Yuck.
There's something called black mold too. That sounds
scare
really
me.
bad.
Scare me.
Different kind of mold. Yeah, it's not
That's
good.
what happens when your basement floods. All right, so drum fans. That's what I need. Write it down. Drum fans. I bet the run on drum fans from like Home Depot and Lowe's and all those places, I bet the line's out the door because I'm sure we're not the only people who had flooding. Okay, well, I'll have to figure that out. Thank you guys so much. Coming up, a lot more to do, including one of the greatest of all time tells us who he thinks is the greatest. So that's kind of fun. We'll do that next. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back, Maggie and Perloff. So we mentioned earlier in the show, we were at Fanatics Fest this weekend in New York City. The sports card and many other things, sports apparel company Fanatics, held sort of what I would call a sports convention.
Yep.
But tons and tons of fans came over the weekend. You got to buy and sell cards. You got to see these fun interactive exhibits. And there were celebrities galore. Now, if you thought you were going to go hang out with Jay-Z, that probably was not going to happen. But you got to see a lot of guys sort of walking around. It felt very much like Super Bowl week media row to me, but just with a wider access to fans. And the fans could sort of mill around and be in these spaces. Some of the prices were a little much for me. I'll be totally honest about that. But it's definitely a cool experience and a cool vibe. And I think Fanatics was thrilled about the reaction.
So you and I were there on Friday after the show. We got to do a lot of fun things and put together a nice little video of all the fun that we had, which is on both of our socials. If you want to go check it out, at Maggie and Pearl, at Maggie Gray, at Andrew Perloff, where I had a great time. Perloff maybe took the brunt. Was on the wrong end of a couple things. Looked like maybe an episode of America's Funniest Home Videos from back in the day where the dad keeps getting the wiffle ball, you know where, over and over and over again. But a lot of fun had by all. I was surprised they put a nightclub in the middle, and I'm surprised you weren't in it.
I was right next to it, the 40/40 Club.
Yeah. So
I was there on Saturday. I was literally standing below Jay-Z. He stood there for an hour, and everybody was taking pictures of him.
I thought that you were going to try to get into the 40/40 Club, and I wanted that story of, like, what does the bouncer at this nightclub that they put in the middle of this convention hall, what does he say when he sees McLovin coming at him? Does he come right in? Would you have had to stop? Would you have gotten the red carpet treatment?
40/40. Is it the 40/40 Club? Like, that's the one that they have at the Nets games, too.
It's just basically a shorthand for, like, all the Jay-Z clubs. There's a couple different ones.
It's not a club. It's like a...
That they call it a club.
It's a club. It's right next to, like, the Auntie Anne stand at the Brooklyn Nets games. It's not like a club. It's like a stadium thing.
Yeah.
I'm not like, listen, and this 40/40 Club, you're making it sound like it was some like exclusive nightclub. That was not the scene.
I wanted Perloff next to Jay-Z. That's what I was hoping. I did have a little FOMO that I wasn't there.
Well, Jay-Z did actually. I was at one point literally almost bumped into Jay-Z. He was coming around the corner. I don't know where he was going. And the one thing about some of the bigger stars is they had these crazy security guards. Remember when I got pushed by A-Rod's security guard and it made me mad? I still hate A-Rod for it. That was the scene, except I was on steroids, because at one point Jay-Z's crew was going right past me. I think I was going to the bathroom and almost took me out. And then Travis Scott's crew came this way and almost took me out. Then Gronk himself almost hit both of us. It was there was this weird thing where these massive celebrities were roaming the floor. And it's a little bit tricky. So is that cool as a fan to at least you were 2 feet away from Jay-Z?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool. We went to go see Tom Brady. We could not get within a football field of Tom Brady, but I understood why. He was busy. And here's the thing about Brady. You know, maybe it was all those years in New England and he would do these interviews sometimes, but he wouldn't really say much. And, you know, he's talking now. Like, you can't get this guy to stop talking. He was doing this panel with Stephen A. Smith, and it was Stephen A. got completely overshadowed and upstaged by Tom Brady. Stephen A. Smith, maybe the greatest talker ever living, couldn't get a word in edgewise with Brady. And I think Brady is really found something. He's taken this broadcaster thing like really, really seriously, and so I'm curious about how it's going to sound when his first game is going to be Cowboys Browns.
Well, I mean,
for Fox.
This is probably what you expect about Tom Brady as far as being meticulous and intense. And I remember that we've seen different things. Remember that Facebook special where it was just like, oh my God, this guy is a crazy, detailed-oriented nut.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to work for 18 regular season games. I think he's got to chill. Maybe just go back to a little bit of the chugging beers with Michigan offensive lineman Tom Brady. Remember that version of him? You've heard legends of how he used to be one of the guys.
Yeah, I think we're far from that.
I think he's going to have to find that again. I don't think it's that different. Have you ever heard anyone who's had a bad interaction with Tom Brady? Very rare.
No.
So I think if he just is like, you know what? I think he's putting so much pressure on it. I heard him talking. He's putting so much pressure on himself to be so brilliant or something. Just maybe watch a game and have a little fun. Don't go Tony Romo.
Gotta let
Don't
it
get
breathe.
loose around the left turn.
Yep.
But
Keep the car on the tracks, Tom.
But I'd like him to be a little more relaxed. And for example, what we saw at Fanatics Fest, that was a little that made me nervous just sitting there.
EJ's asking if we should do a Maggie and Perloff show from the new 4040 Club. I think the lighting would be about the same. If you're watching us on Twitch, YouTube, on Twitter, we're having a lighting issue today that Andrew Kaplan, the engineers, are working feverishly on, so we appreciate that. Everyone's taking it super seriously. But it does look like we're sort of camping / nightclubbing. All that's missing is the girls in bathing suits coming in with the sparklers.
You guys are ready. Like, this is the practice round. Like, 4040 Club apparently opening a new location in 2025 in New York City. I feel like it's perfect. We'll probably, since we get on at 6 a.m., we'll probably get the stragglers coming out of the club. You know how fun that would be? Try to get a live interview with one of them. Maybe we'll find Pat Boyle,
He's here.
After our late night, maybe PB will get on the show. We'll do updates. It'll be fun.
I'm down for that.
Man, you're right. This is our vibe today. We're sort of this low lighting. Even Andrew Bogus checked in on vacation. He's like, what's up with the romantic lighting? Where it's a new sultry Maggie and Perloff. This is a new, I don't know. We're trying on something different.
You guys are going for adding another layer of Target demo in.
Exactly. You never know what you're going to find here. A little Raiders talk, a little low lighting. To be honest, we've never looked better. Pat, you have headlines for us. What's up?
Yeah, so we've covered just about everything from the weekend of football. Just one last thing. Bears-Bengals preseason game over the weekend. You got a good look at Jonathan Owens, one of the newest Bears, and famously Simone Biles' husband.
Yeah.
So Biles was at the game wearing a jacket that was like black and white, was decorated with a ton of Jonathan Owens action shots. Only one problem. It was full of Packers action shots and had a huge Green Bay logo on the shoulder. He's no longer on the Packers. He's now on their biggest rival, the Bears. Needless to say, she got crushed on social media. You got to have a little more feel and awareness than that.
I just can't tell how nobody was like, hey, we need to get you a new jacket. Like, she's Simone Biles. It's not me and you walking around. Like, you can get her some merch,
I thought this scandal was a little overblown for a preseason game.
Well,
do you give her any leeway because it wasn't a real game?
No.
Cap says she's been busy.
It doesn't matter.
Fair.
Preseason or not, I'm putting a lot of blame on her to a certain extent. I don't care if you know nothing about football. Your husband was on one team. Now he's on a different team. And, again, he played for the Packers. So, I would assume in some conversations it was brought up, we're playing the Bears, our biggest rival. We're playing the Bears, our biggest rival. Now he's on the Bears.
Right.
You can't walk into that stadium with a bunch of Packers stuff on the coat. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to back up Kaplan here. Like, she's been training to be the greatest Olympian ever.
The Olympics ended a week and a half ago.
Turn the page.
Exactly. She made sure to walk out with the walking boot on. Come on. At some point in the last week and a half when she said, I'm going to the Bears preseason game, and then put on that coat, the girl that was with her, nobody else said, you got to take that off.
Oh, well, you can't expect a friend to know.
Go to the Bears team members, somebody in their PR department should have spotted that and said, oh, yeah, I know that they knew Simone Biles was coming. Then once they see that coat, they say, oh, Simone's here. What is that coat? Let's go get her a Jonathan Owens jersey. Let's get her any Bears kind of memorabilia. She can't be wearing that.
It was also kind of a thicker coat, right?
Yes, which I know it gets cold in Chicago, not in August.
This reminded me a little bit of Mets
or
fans.
Cincinnati, wherever the game was.
I feel like this is Mets fans getting mad at Hawk Tua, girl throwing out the first pitch 2.0. Like, dude, who cares? What on earth are you talking about?
Me?
What is this a rant for? Yes, like, get out of here. Because Simone Biles wore her husband's face on a jacket. Like, this is not something to get mad about.
She has no feel. You got to have way more awareness than that. That's the biggest, one of the biggest rivalries in sports, let alone football. And your husband's now on the other team. Imagine a Red Sox or a Yankees, wife or girlfriend showing up wearing a Red Sox jersey and their players now on the Yankees.
Yeah, who on earth cares? What the hell's the difference?
Sports fans. People that listen to this show.
I'm trying to think of what
they don't. They do not care about this. They care about who's on their fantasy team. They care about who they won on the bet. They care about, are the Bears going to be good this year? They don't care if Simone Biles is wearing a jacket.
Her husband's barely good enough to make the team, and now she's adding extra negative publicity to this. This is not a good start for Jonathan Owens in Chicago.
Well, that's a Sabres fan is in the chat says have her husband make the team before getting the jacket. He's gonna make the team, I think, but. Is there a gymnastics equivalent of this? Like if he had rolled up wearing what? Like the Soviet Union doesn't exist as we know. Like a Russia jacket?
Like if Simone Biles was
China?
Yeah, right.
If Simone Biles was Joel Embiid and switched like allegiances and he showed up wearing
USA.
a France, T-shirt or something like that. You wouldn't think that's a big deal?
It would be a little more political than Packers-Bears, but I was wondering if there's a gymnastics equivalent of this. Could he have made the same faux pas? I don't think so.
Perloff, you don't think this is a big deal in the slightest?
I beat literally of all the things that have happened in sports in the last 3 months, I put this 1,000,000th in the priority list, right below the Hawk Tour throwing out the first pitch story.
I'm not saying it's high on my priority list, but I was directed to it
sounds
by
like you're genuinely
EJ.
angry about Simone Biles wearing a Packers jacket to a preseason game.
It's the decision making. It's the thought process. How does that go through
She's
your...
not on the team. She's a gymnast.
But
this is football.
There are so many layers of security that had to be breached to let her on the field and then walk around and take pictures with that. Nobody, not one person said, hey, that's kind of our biggest rival. Maybe put on some Bears stuff or we can give you something to wear.
Yeah.
Honestly, I could show up butt naked at a preseason game. It wouldn't make the slightest bit of difference in the world. It's a preseason game. Who cares?
Let's test that. What else we got?
I could walk out into the week 3 games, which are even more backups. Whatever. Okay.
EJ said Perloff's never been more wrong. EJ, you're with Pat on this one.
Right.
I don't know what the hell Perloff is talking about. This is Packers and Bears. I know we don't live in the Midwest, but this is as big a rivalry as there is in professional sports. One of the few NFL rivalries that still exist. So to show up in Packers paraphernalia when she knows they're rivals. Again, he played for the Packers. So you know that. And then she also already committed the cardinal sin of wearing another team's jersey to an event where they're not playing. She already screwed up by that. This could have been Chiefs. This could have been Jets. This could have been any team. Raiders. You don't wear random team paraphernalia to a game where neither of those two teams are playing. So she already screwed up there. And then you pick the freaking Packers of all the team when your husband plays with the Bears and he's trying to make the team. This is terrible. And also, I think it's a big deal because she's the quote-unquote celebrity fan for the Bears now.
Thank you, EJ.
What you're doing?
So here, Perloff, when you were on vacation, now feels like a year ago, but when you were on vacation, Bogusch did his top 6 commandments for jersey wearing. And one of them was you can't wear a random team that's not playing in the sporting event that you're going to a game. Very adamant about this. Now, this is a jacket. It's not a jersey, so I don't know if it's the same guidelines and bylaws matter. But that was one of the big things.
This and by the way, I think EJ and I think you too, Maggie, were super upset when Jason Kelce wore Chiefs overalls. Right?
Oh, I was upset with Jason Kelce's whole act at the Bills game. I didn't like him tailgating with the Bills fans in the parking lot, drinking all their booze when he's about to go cheer against them. I didn't like him jumping out of the window. It's not about you. It's about your brother. Just make it about your brother. You don't have to be such in a rush to upstage Taylor Swift. You could just chill out.
Yeah, my take on that was A, Jason Kelce can do no wrong, so who cares? B, who cares? Who cares? This is Jason Kelce can do whatever he wants. He's Jason Kelce. And Simone Biles is Simone Biles. She's the GOAT. She can wear, I don't care if she's wearing a Brett Favre jersey and that's it. It's a preseason game. Simone Biles, this is manufactured fury over nothing.
No, not manufactured. Nobody is
Pat,
too
like
high
you care, get out of here.
Nobody is too high to be reprimanded by me for a sports faux pas.
Yeah.
That's right at the top of the list.
Well, and also they brought her down to the field and everything. She wasn't just like in the box.
Sports football, it's one thing to wear a jersey. She was wearing a custom-made sort of trench coat with Jonathan Owens. Like this, that's a common situation that happens. It's not like a normal sports faux pas.
Here's the thing. She's just got to put it in the closet. What else do we have, Pat?
The Yankees got walked off by the Tigers. Let's move past that. I want to do this. It's been on the docket since the first hour.
No, don't do it.
No, we got to do it.
No, we got to do it. I'm not here tomorrow. Otherwise, I would. I'd save it for tomorrow. So Angels game on Saturday. Halos announcers Wayne Randazzo and Mark Kubica, I believe that's how you say his name, noticed one of the umpires during a replay sporting a Kramer shirt from Seinfeld underneath his uniform.
The second base umpire, James Hoy, and this will certainly be confirmed as a home run. That's Kramer on his shirt.
All the field's confirmed.
Look at a picture of Kramer on his shirt.
Yes, he does. It's Cosmo Kramer.
That's unbelievable. What a sequence we just saw. A rare home run off that.
There it is.
Picture. That's ridiculous.
So that's courtesy of Valley Sports.
Well, clearly,
good job, Nick.
Paying attention to our Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket, which we did for a little over a month. And we crowned, you guys did, because it was all about your voting, the audience, Seinfeld as the #1 sitcom from the Maggie and Perloff sitcom bracket. Clearly still relevant in many different ways, that show.
Show ended, 25 years ago?
Something like that. Pre-cell phone.
What umpire takes it to the next level now? And where's something
Friends?
Crazier? Not even just sitcoms. Is there going to start being a dress code for undershirts of what umpires can wear?
Well, isn't this part of the, players get to show their personalities for one weekend out of the year?
Umpires now can.
This is like the big thing in baseball. It's like, we need more stars. Okay, you get to wear whatever cleats you want for 2 days. That's going to do it. Nice. You get to have a bat that's a different color for 48 hours. This is really going to bring the kids in.
I'll be honest. I saw this, guys, and I was like, bring me the robot umpires. Like, these guys are not serious. There's nothing more unserious than showing up to work where you wear an actual uniform and you have a Seinfeld shirt underneath. I just don't believe that you're serious about your job. I'm sorry. This was funny, but I was like, we've now moved past the point where we need these people on the field.
I'm
Just
with
bring
you.
me the robots.
With you.
I am not saying anything because I already know the last story, but who on earth cares about this Cosmo Kramer story? What are we doing? Why is this a story? There's no story here. The dude was wearing a Kramer shirt. What's happening here? That you're actually taking real meaning from this?
Just thought it was funny.
I didn't.
That's cute. Is it cute? Maybe you scroll by it on Twitter for half a second, but there's no there.
I can't wait. Mahomes will throw 450 yards and 5 touchdowns in week 1. Perloff's reaction. Who cares? He's done it before.
Yes, Mahomes running for 450 yards. An umpire wearing a Cosmo Kramer shirt and Simone Biles wearing her own husband on her jacket. Those I don't care about. Mahomes running for 450 yards, that's a big deal.
No, you will say it's not a big deal. You will find a way. You said the Eagles losing the Super Bowl wasn't a big deal. You will find it. And the Phillies losing the World Series wasn't a big deal. And anything that actually is a big deal, I don't think your radar is the best radar on this.
Okay, no, you're right. Because a guy wearing a Cosmo Kramer t-shirt is a reason to get rid of live umpires, as EJ just said.
Well, the other part too is I don't think the robot umps are coming to the field.
No, you're right. No, my bad. Let's rewrite the U.S. Constitution because an umpire was wearing a Cosmo Kramer t-shirt. It's a huge deal. In fact, throughout the rest of this rundown, I'm ripping it right here. Let's break this down and what it means for the state of baseball, and not just the state of baseball, the state of sports in general. It's a disgrace. Is that better, Pat?
As Delta says, this crap is crap.
Caitlin Clark, by the way, broke the single season assist record for rookies.
Please ask Perloff what he thinks of that.
Oh, she broke the single. Apparently, she's the first rookie who's ever played in the WNBA. But by week 3, she broke every record there ever was.
Nope, say it.
What?
You don't think it's a big deal?
That is definitely not a big deal because apparently no rookie's ever done a single thing. Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark have rewritten it in 3 weeks. But that being said, that's a way bigger deal than the Cosmo Kramer t-shirt. We should have teased that for 1 more hour and done it in the next sports update.
Into Bill's show.
Yeah.
I'll do my whole 90-second update next hour on the Cosmo Kramer.
I mean, listen, you could have a major NFL player get hurt, but God forbid his wife showed up wearing the Rivals
off, people are just throwing
shirt.
stuff at her.
Nobody cares about the Browns' left tackle dearth. They want to hear about Simone Biles.
Well, everything she does is news.
That is true. The Cosmo Kramer, you have to admit, that might be a stretch. Am I missing something here? Is this a bigger deal than... Is it cuter than... I didn't even think it's that cute.
Aim your arrows at the executive producer.
Yes, right. I'm standing on business. I think the show needed this story. Okay.
Okay.
When was the last time you saw any umpire wear anything weird? This is the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah, this is what they chose to do. 855-212-4227. They blew it. They used their one opportunity on a Kramer shirt. And now I'm sure Rob Manfred will never let them do it ever again. All right. Well, we do have actual stuff to get to, including one team that looks like they may have made a big mistake. We'll get to that next. Maggie Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back. Maggie, Gray, Andrew, Perloff. You've been following along on social media this morning. This has been the Campfire Show. Lighting looks a little funny in here, but I actually kind of like it. It's a little bit of a different vibe. On radio, you've gotten the full experience. We would never cut corners or shortchange you there. So I think one team is pretty clear they made a pretty big mistake.
Okay.
And I think that team is the New York Giants. And the mistake was not drafting a quarterback. And, Daniel Jones, they owed him this money. The preseason, the vibe on the quarterbacks coming out, Perloff, was that we knew there were going to be a lot of them who were going. We just didn't know exactly how many would go in the first round, and we weren't. But this has been a very highly touted class.
Well, sort of. I know the top three were highly touted. Obviously, Caleb Williams, generational. Yeah. Jayden Daniels won the Heisman, and Drake May has always been a kind of a top 5 candidate. I don't remember, and take me back to April, that anyone was really considering Michael Penix went number 8, and nobody was considering Bo Nix. J.J. McCarthy's name came up because I don't remember why him.
Oh, he just come off the
but
national title.
It didn't feel like McCarthy was the right fit for where the Giants were either. So I'm not sure, we say that now after one preseason game, kind of looks like they made a mistake. But at the time, I remember thinking they should either trade up for a quarterback or stay where they are.
Okay, so they didn't even need to trade up, though. You probably couldn't get up for 1, 2, or 3, but they were picking at 6.
Yeah, but we would have killed them for taking any of those guys at 6. We would have destroyed them for taking Penix at 6.
Okay.
Destroyed.
Well, they got destroyed for taking Daniel Jones at 6.
I know. And
that was a totally different regime, though. Here's why I think this is looking like a mistake. First of all, because Daniel Jones keep making the same mistakes that he's been making for years. And yeah, it was a preseason game, but it's the same bad decision making. And, for a guy who went to Duke, this is not the smartest player. And then the other thing is you have a quarterback in Brian Daboll who is known to do well. A head coach of Brian Daboll who's known to do well with quarterbacks, right? So he helped Josh Allen, and he's coached on the college level and the pro level. And sort of all the things about his resume would tell you this is a guy who could start over with a young quarterback, and you should trust him and trust his judgment to develop it. Instead, you're going with Malik Nabers, who could be an all-time great, but what's that get you? A great wide receiver without a good quarterback. What? That's not a winning formula. It reminds me a little of the Giants taking Saquon Barkley 2nd overall. You're taking a running back for what? For why? That high when you had other needs that actually would have contributed more to winning. If you have a terrible offensive line, there's no running back in the world outside of Barry Sanders. And Barry Sanders didn't win a lot of playoff games. Let's keep it 100. So there's only so much generational running backs can do if your offensive line isn't good and if your quarterbacks aren't good.
So if Brian Dable's so good at developing quarterbacks, why couldn't he develop Daniel Jones?
I think Jones is a lost cause.
So how do you know that the next guy would be better? And also, I think it's a little different. Saquon Barkley, a running back, and Malik Nabers, a wide receiver. Obviously, wide receiver is the premier position right now. I don't think that's going to look like a mistake. If you don't have Malik Nabers on that offense, here are your other skill position players, just so we know who's there. Wan'Dale Robinson, Darius Slayton, maybe Jalen Hyatt, and your running backs are Devin Singletary with nobody behind him. I mean,
what is Malik Nabers doing there? That's the thing.
You need some. It's about time you get, since Odell left, you need some lightning in this offense. You need something exciting. And I'm sorry, J.J. McCarthy throwing to nobody for 5 years is something I'll pass on.
I know, but you always say this. I feel more confident that I could find a wide receiver.
Yeah, I know, but
then I can find a quarterback.
But the Giants are a team that's so desperate for something. I mean, they have not had juice in forever. And honestly, I think we're going to look back on this draft and say Nabers should have gone higher.
that might be all and good, but if Daniel Jones can't get him the ball, what does it matter?
Well, the next quarterback will get him the ball.
Who's
Jones
that? Where's that guy coming from?
Aaron Rodgers? I have no idea.
Love it. Aaron Rodgers,
Dak
walk across
Prescott?
the street.
Dak Prescott. Somebody's going to shake free.
See, but again, that's more Band-Aid over a bullet wound, too. Like,
Yeah,
you're
but they
going to
get
Dak
to
Prescott or Aaron Rodgers?
What's your solution? But
They should have drafted
Jayden,
a quarterback.
who probably would have been a bust. They drafted Daniel Jones. If you're going by process, they drafted Jones at 6. Was that the right move?
Yeah, but you can't be, like, shy about this, because you had this thing with Jones, and then, like, I don't understand why the Giants front office isn't under more fire here. You gave Jones all this money off of what? And now...
Oh, but that's ancient history. That's a sunk cost.
No, but Perloff, I think that played into them not drafting a quarterback this year. It's like they couldn't get up to get Drake May. Now they're like, all right, I guess we're rolling with Daniel Jones. Like,
They at least
great.
wanted to trade up for Jake May. And remember Brian Dable on Hard Knocks, they're like, would you take Jayden Daniels right now? He's like, I sure would.
Yeah, thanks. Way to put your neck out there.
Listen, that quarterback class, we knew about the top 3, but we did not know. Pettis could have been a third rounder for all we knew at that point. So I think you're doing a bit of a revisionist, although your points are true.
Thank you to Nick Theodoro. Thank you to DJ Stewart. Thank you to Pat Boyle on updates today. Andrew Kaplan, who's just troubleshooting. Weedos and coffee drinkers.
You're in a 5-minute break.